Hey everybody, this is Game Ultimatum, and now I'm going to be reading for you all of the translated version I could find of Solatorobo Red Data Children. I think we have plenty of character info, but here we go.
Why?
A small figure was running through the night and forest. Two large shadows followed it. A girl was being chased. It seems that she was about 14 or 15 years old. The moonlight illuminated her silver hair and pale face. A plainly colored restraint wearer was severely dirty and torn in several places, revealing her pale skin. There were dark stains on her that seemed to be traces of blood. The girl repeatedly looked over her shoulder at the gradually closing distance between her and the shadows. Their impatient faces growing clearer.
Why?
The cut she would be disposed of. Therefore, she was in a desperate struggle to escape. The girl just wanted to live. It was all because of her body.
Sorry.
She could not catch her breath. Despite the girl's lungs having been worn to their limits out by repeatedly expanding and contracting, they still madly desired oxygen. How long has it been since she was last permitted sleep or even something to eat or drink? Even though her body wasn't transformed, she had not accumulated fatigue. It was only a matter of time before they caught up with her.
Why?
Although it would be hard to imagine from her expression, a feeling of sorrow was scratching inside the girl's chest. However, no matter how much she cursed her unreasonable fate, her circumstances remained unchanged. She broke through an interval in the trees and exited into an open space. However, what awaited her was an impasse called despair. She was surrounded by three steep cliffs. There was nothing beyond. There was nothing under the cliff. Just a jet black night sky and the expanding cloud sea illuminated by the moonlight. Even though the girl was being hunted down, she thought the scenery was beautiful. However, falling from the frozen islands meant death. A few moments later, a man and rover respectively embarking on the backs of high mobility robos came into view.
Are you sure you don't want to stop running away so soon, number 4? Don't call me by that number!
While breathing, the girl slowly looked up.
My name is Rose. You're nothing more than a lab experiment.
The woman expressed her voluptuous body and directed the gun in her robo's right arm towards the girl's face.
I wonder, do you have any last words, number 4?
The woman raised the edge of her lips maliciously. Next to the woman, the ruthless-looking man observed the girl without a change in expression. The girl slowly stepped back, rocks under her feet scattered over the cliff, and were engulfed by the floating clouds.
Why?
The girl muttered that lone word as she scowled her eyebrows.
Why won't you leave me alone? Haven't I already served my purpose? You don't need to know that. Simply know that I'm going to kill you because I want to. Why?
For a moment, the girl strained her face like she was about to cry. When the woman saw the state of the girl, she sneered and silently lowered the tip of her gun.
I couldn't shoot such a pretty face. I'm trying to figure out who's saying what.
Pretty? Whose face?
This isn't the selective one's true forms. this.
The girl's wish was merely to live freely in the world. That was it.
There's no more time. Let's take our course and go back.
The man who had kept silent until then urged the woman. The girl had few pads left.
You want my corpse? I won't let you take it!
The girl looked beyond and dropped, leaping into the air. Without hesitation, she fell entirely below the cliff.
Vermilion! Vermilion! That's better.
Reacting to the woman's shout, the man jumped off in order to give chase, but instantly sprung back up. The man hovered midair while changing his robo into flight mode.
This is regrettable, but there's no time left. Head back, Rogue. Rogue.
It would take too long to pursue the girl, and the woman's transform was weaker. The woman peered down the cliff for a short while, her tongue and heel, before flying back to the man when he returned. Floating islands were drifting in the jet-black night sky, as always. The morning sun rose in the group of floating islands that made up the Shepherd Republic. It had already been no less than 30 years since the second incantation war with their neighboring country had ended. There were no noticeable conflicts nowadays. The Kenanu and Belinko people mutually combined their strength and coexisted in peace. The Kenanu had many powerful construction machines that were able to build large structures. They possessed short, bushy tails, and their whole bodies were covered with thin fur. The Belinko were an agile race, and many of them were proficient with the mysterious magic system. They are covered in thin fur like Kenanus and have thin, long tails. The capital city of Pharaoh was the largest floating city in the Republic. From about a dozen kilometers south there was an island too small to be called a city. It was a rural village with a population of only a few hundred. Rose had fallen near the edge of that village. Consciousness had left her, and hunger and fatigue were already setting in. She did not want to die yet. Her capacity for survival was strong. After all, it was due to her unique body that she was able to survive. Despite blindly jumping off the cliff, she grabbed onto a rock drifting near the floating island's circumference and promptly leaped onto it. Her unsightly body absorbed the landing impact very easily. She was said to be disposed of any minute at the experimental facility before she ran away. However, the harsh reality of Rose's escape was just before her, and she was injured to a point where there was nowhere left where she hadn't been harmed. She had not even been allowed to merely live. Upon hearing a voice from far, she woke up. As her consciousness became clearer, she noticed whispering voices. Her unconcealed face stood out when she raised it. Ah! It's alive! Oh, hey, look at that! It doesn't have any ears on its head. And it's no sweat. I kinda knew.
Is that... Okay. Is that Blinko either? There's no face markings. In fact, there's no fur at all.
Doesn't even have a tail! What's I seen?
Rose quickly attempted to hide her face, but she did not have enough strength to make a difference. Her curiosity quickly turned to fear. The person had been observing Rose's form before making the reaction more than apparent. What is that? It's creepy. It's not going to attack us, is it? Curious eyes pointed where it's not any better. Hey, before this, Cyrus said that his ewe died. Maybe it was because of that? Well, the roof was torn down, wasn't it? In this world, there were a considerable number of people who harbored feelings of hostility towards the abnormal, and found it best to rid themselves of them. Some people desired scapegoats that were easy to blame for their misfortunes. Rose raised only her upper body.
I haven't done anything.
Whoa, it talked.
The crowd that had circled around Rose slightly grew. Feelings of fear and hatred were easily amplified and spread. It's a smooth monster!
It's a split monster!
She was mocked by the voice of a child. After a small rock hit Rose's left arm. She somehow thrown a stone at Rose.
No, I'm not a monster.
While denying their accusations and shielding her face, the flames of fury that flared among the villagers only gained momentum. A monster. Each time she was called that, the inside of her chest felt hollow. There were countless holes pierced inside her, wounds causing bitter tears to pour out.
What in the world did I do?
Rose just wanted to live. She was up to escape from the gradually narrowing ring of onlookers.
It hurts.
Painful impact hit her forehead and fresh, warm liquid dripped down from it. Rose began to get struck by stones and was unable to get up.
Why?
Rose felt a crushingly indescribable sorrow in her chest. She wanted to escape from her suffering. The temptation of death beckoned her. Even so, Rose still wanted to live. She didn't to see anything in the world. As Rose stood up to run away, her field of view darkened. When she raised her face, a giant canoe man carrying an axe stood before Rose. His eyes were visibly bloodshot.
A monster.
Rose fell back down. Hey! What is this? What the hell is this about? A nonchalant voice came from outside the circle, whereupon the crowd that covered Rose without any opening scattered to release her. The pier was a canoe who was followed by a young boy and girl on both sides. The man wore a large hat, as well as a robe that covered his whole body. He had a mysterious appearance. What are you doing to this child? Even though he was not trying to be intimidating, the man uttered his voice loudly, and the giant canoe lowered his axe as if he were ashamed. The atmosphere of the field started to focus on the man. That's not a child. Look carefully. It's good that you're here, Carmine. You're a hunter. Please get rid of that monster. The villagers spoke with hard-pressed expressions on their face. Monster? The man called Carmine shot Rose with sharp eyes from the inside of his hat. His eyes opened in astonishment. To escape his unreserved gaze, Rose moved slightly. Moved. You. He thoroughly observed her furless hands, while Rose had singly hid them behind her back. She turned her face down to endure his stare. Responding to that gesture, Carmine averted his gaze. Besides, the girl is wearing... Carmine sensed something and narrowed his eyes. The 10-year-old looking boy near Rose and Carmine stared at her as well. He scratched the headgear on top of his head. He then ran over to Rose's side, his brown tail whirling around. A girl around 4 or 5 years old ran after him as well. Red? Chocolate? What are you doing? You don't even that monster at once! And the man with the axe, Amelie... Oh wait, no, that's... I got the first one. Red? Chocolate? What are you doing? Get away from that monster at once! Behind the man with an axe, a middle-aged woman frantically called to the boy and girl. However, the boy, called Red, looked curiously at Rose's face. Hey, this person, she's crying. With Red's words, the villagers were unexpectedly hit with silence. Rose touched her cheek, but found no traces of the tears flowing. Only pain within her heart. With the presence of danger diminished, an uncomfortable atmosphere dominated the area. Even so, the villagers still spoke selfishly. It killed my livestock. It was that monster destroyed my field. Did you guys see the crime? I didn't see it, but I was certain it was her. That's right. Can you swear by your tail? Well, that's... As Carmen repeatedly called him into question, the villagers hesitated and lost their vigor. Was it true? Carmen looked to Rose for confirmation, and she shook her head. Even if her nose is short and she doesn't have any fur, and even if she isn't a kind of flinko, she's still able to speak. I've never seen a monster like that. The con members became tense again. Now that I think about it, ever since early morning, that old guy's face was looking red. As soon as Carmen had managed to turn the tide, the middle-aged woman beside him raised her voice. I wonder, have you been drinking again? Honey, you good for nothing, drunkard. Carmen broke into a bitter laughter due to the suddenly quarreling couple. It's alright, even she doesn't have any fur, is it? I don't think this girl is so bad. Carmen declared his basis, whereupon an atmosphere of relief flowed among the villagers. Well, with that reasoning, I guess I'll manage to deal with this child. Carmen says so. The giant kind with an axe gave in, and the gathered people went back home in small groups.
Stay away.
Rose tried to keep her distance from the approaching Carmine. She was thankful that he helped her. She could not forgive herself. Don't worry. Master may be a bit of an idiot, but he's really strong. He always manages to get done. Leave it to me. I'll make sure to hit you later. I said that Carmen shook his fist at Red, who ran around playfully. With their jovial exchanges, Rose's tense mind became loosened, and her consciousness suddenly faded away. Carmine lifted up Rose, who had collapsed to the ground. Is she okay? And Chocolat stretched on her toes to look at the Rose's face. Good grief. We find another hybrid. The 7 children's fates are greatly intertwined. Carmine muttered to himself as he gazed at the clear, cloudless skies.
Stop!
On the inside of a glass case, a sprawled girl bound by chain was screaming. The code stretched around her body faintly shook.
No more!
Prepare to apply more strain. Looking from the side, a man with a strange form gave instructions to the operator. The man, who was neither a Kananu nor a Flinko, observed the girl inside the case with cruel eyes as if he were watching an insect. As the operator raised the output, the device rose to a set value before it abruptly stopped. The girl's trance state loosened, and she returned to the form of Flinko. That's the degree it can go to? I'm 1 and 2 are still unstable, so I kept it alive for backup. We're back. The man inhaled deeply, as if he were disappointed. When the error went away, the girl's appearance changed into her trance state again. She lost all of her fur, and her ears and tail had disappeared. What do you think? There seems to be room for extending the duration time by a little more. Points. That's enough. Please dispose of it. Surely next time will be more reliable. Understood. Within her hazy consciousness, the girl listened to the conversation.
Suppose? Will I die?
As he left, the man glanced at the girl who had no use to him, and his cold eyes scrolled Trump from the depths of her heart. She had seen too many people disposed of, former friends who were mercilessly killed. The 7 children selected for the man's great ambitions would be disposed of unless they were of use to him.
Why?
Why must they die? Why can't they be allowed to live? The operator looked at the quivering girl with pity. She did not want to die yet. The girl sprung up vigorously. There was a tense ringing in her ear. She was unable to distinguish reality from her dream, causing her to wake up in a light panic. But now, Rose's body was not wrapped in cold chains as the subject of an experiment, but instead in the feeling of a warm blanket. Despite that, the warmth caused her tears to soak into her wounded heart.
A dream.
That had been her worst dream, and she relived it and relieved it was only that, a dream. She did not sense any signs of danger there. When Rose regained her composure, she hugged her shoulders to confirm their feel. It was an unsightly body, however, she had not parted with it. She realized that she would continue to live like that. On both sides of the bed, 2 familiar young children were laying down and asleep. She was fairly certain their names were Red and Chocolat. Rose was perplexed and unable to move.
Where?
Due to the lack of windows, she was able to get a clear look at the dim room's interior. At the same time, a voice came from another room close by. It seemed that someone was having a conversation. One voice was familiar. She was surrounded by the violent crowd. It was that man's voice which subdued them. She recalled that he was called Carmine. That's the being. What's wrong with it? It's a hybrid that is near Kanu norflingo. It looks like different species. Really? This is the first time I've heard of something like that. Basically, Kanu are good at tinkering, they are good with magic. However, hybrids possess unknown and immeasurable power that cannot be fathomed. I see, well, is that the girl?
What are they talking about?
Our companion seemed to be an elderly woman. However, this is a strange one for me to take in. I promised to the villagers before that I wouldn't just leave her. When she heard that, Rose finally realized they were talking about her. Ah, perhaps you are searching for the girl's destiny. That's not it. Then, what kind of divine message did you receive this time? Was it from God? It's nothing like that. It's just a sort of vague premonition, you see.
Destiny? Divine message? Premonition?
What in the world were they talking about? Oh, did you get up, lady? Oh, did you get up, lady? Well, they continued talking, stirring him, but never looking up. Chocolate did the same a little later, and made a sweet expression while rubbing her puzzled eyes and pinkish fur-colored cuteness as well. Rose was looking at Rose's whole body with eyes full of curiosity. He could not help himself and quickly asked about her face. Hey, lady, why is your nose so short, and why are your ears so tiny? It was childlike innocence. That's why it was so difficult to deal with. Rose was once again reminded of how normal she was. Her heart grew heavy on that fact. Ever since escaping the experimental facility, the pain just revived each time someone saw her appearance. If she ran away from here, she would not be killed. Though she had thought it out, Rose had nowhere to live. It was so nice even if it was a little frightening. Despite Rose's appearance having been seen, she had not been attacked by one or two assailants. You don't have any fur. Does it hurt? Chocolate gently stretched out her hand and attempted to touch Rose's face.
Don't touch me!
Rose impulsively swept away Chocolate's hand. Emotions of anger and sadness suddenly swelled up, and she did not understand why. The two children ran from the room and yelled at Rose, "You have to get so mad!" Carmine, who heard the commotion, appeared from another room. Despite being indoors, his hat remained on his head. Hey, you two! I've been looking after you for a while now. Show some gratitude.
Huh?
Rose stared at the back of the door where the two exited out. The areas where she was hit with stones were covered with medicinal herbs and wrapped in bandages. Before she knew it, she felt strong emotions and a biting ache from within her chest. First of all, let's get something to eat. It's making me a bit worked up. Only after hearing that was Rose made aware of her body complaining from severe heat. She felt miserable as her stomach growled with poor timing. Oh, you must be out of energy with an empty stomach like that. Carmen boldly grinned and laughed as Rose's face grew flustered with embarrassment. The room was dark but relaxing. Although his hands were really experienced with cooking, he desired for Rose's constitution to improve. So he brought out ordinary bread, meat, and fruit to be eaten. He sat on a chair and faced Rose. Well then, would you like to tell me your name? I'm Carmine, just your average hunter.
Rose.
It was merely a name given to her for convenience of the facility. Still, Rose was pleased with it, and it was better than being referred to by a number. Rose? Carmine had to think to himself. I'll get to the point, little lady. You're away from Bion's laboratory, right? Rose swallowed her breath. She was shocked to be suddenly confronted with her identity, and the guard she had let down, her heart instantly stiffened.
Are you going to sell me back?
If I intended to do that, I have done so already. I wouldn't have burdened such a poor orphanage with an extra person. When Carmen said poor, he lowered his voice and showed such a poor orphanage with an extra person. When Carmen said poor, he lowered his voice and showed a forced smile. From the restraint you wear, perhaps you were going to be disposed of, and so you ran away? Rose gave no answers, however, silence given up a positive affirmation. And although you had escaped, you collapsed without having a place to go. Rose strongly gripped her blanket as he summarized what had happened in the last few days. But it would seem you're still alive now, aren't you? It was a pleasant feeling for her to be told that so casually. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm not used to other people.
Carmen shrugged his shoulders and gave a strained laugh. With that response, Rose felt all malintent removed, and expressionlessly stared at Carmen, her eyes like various emotions.
I was taken to the facility when I was very young. And ever since then, my body was tampered with as a subject of experiments. There's no longer any trace left of me being a Blinko. I was altered in such an ugly body in exchange for strange powers. I was going to be disposed of because it was useless for that purpose.
She was going to be disposed of for being useless. People had thrown stones at Rose when they saw her. A strong threat rolled up.
What did I ever do?
The world was unfair, there was no doubt. It was only a few days ago when she escaped the laboratory before being disposed of. Her heart set on getting away from the facility and slipped into a cargo ship. Even so, it had been easy to locate her whereabouts, and the two who were given such numbers like Rose had pursued her. Rose thought about what exactly her life was. The world was beautiful. Everything she saw was new and fresh. However, Mercy was non-existent. She had only ever known the inside of a confining facility, and the outside was cold and rejecting of Rose.
I know nothing about the world.
Rose covered her face with both hands while hanging her head down. Its smooth touch was a hard act. If that's the case, would it be alright if you remembered this? Girls like you are strong. It's way too soon for you to sulk and judge the world. Carmen's large hands gently touched Rose's head. Was the warmth coming through the gloves an illusion? It really is a difficult world for girls to live in. However, there's only one certainty in this world. Was the debate and wait for his words. He who laughs best. The first person with a gloomy face definitely won't be able to succeed. That's the truth of the world. Carmen confidently declared that with a large smile. Two tiny faces peeked into the room from the door. When Rose noticed, they could both be retracted. What are you doing? When Carmen called out to them, red and chocolate appeared shining. However, they only said the room's entrance without entering. Well, I'm sorry. Chocolate's face was tear-stained and she apologized. Sorry about before. Red's manner of speech was blunt, but he still meaningfully looked Rose in the eye as he spoke. The children's purest was shining this time, but genuineness made Rose unsure how to respond. Nevertheless, the mood set and became lighter.
I'm not mad anymore.
Really? The bear's face shined as the voice quickly said that, and he approached the side of the bed. Red held into Carmen's lap and Chocolate sat quietly soundless to her. Hey, let me hear Rose's story. Hey, bro, that's not fair. I want to hear it too. Rose was overrun, taken aback by the pair's energy. Did you know? Children can probably tell if someone's a good or bad person. Carmen gave Rose a playful smile. You can rest your body here until you're satisfied. Carmen went out of the room as he said, causing Rose to hurriedly call out to him.
But why?
Whether or not it would be a kind answer, Rose did not know. Well, I'm not really sure either. Carmen shook his head, but I feel like it's the right thing to do. As he said that, Carmen pointed at his head. The sun was shining brightly again today. It was neither hot nor cold, as the Shepherd Republic attained a mild climate throughout the year. Rose's physical strength had completely recovered. Rose's body was designed so that, with sufficient meals and rest, she could bear any kind of serious injury and be fine. When she left the bed, she had put on clothes provided for her. Her hands were wrapped in bandages to conceal her skin. At a glance, with the loose robe and large hat given to her by Carmen to cover her eyes, it would be difficult to tell that she was abnormal. From outside, she could hear loud voices.
Huh?
Drawn out towards the clamor, Rose went out to the orphanage courtyard. The scene of Carmen and Red trained train played out before her eyes. Yeah! With a powerful shout, Red prepared to strike Carmen's head with his wooden sword. However, Carmen did not flinch. He pulled his head just before the wooden sword hit and used the minimum amount of movement necessary to intersect Red's foot and sweep it out. Red jumped greatly and avoided the leg, but instead, Carmen sunk his fist into the Red's defenseless abdomen. It was careless to jump like that! Carmen was not going easy on him and struck a serious blow, causing Red to painfully spew vomit. How long are you going to lie down? Carmen kicked at Red with all his strength. Red nearly met with the kick and rolled back to dodge it. For that, Red rose up, wiped his mouth, and repositioned his wooden sword. Then he leapt toward Carmine once more. Their swordsmanship marveled Rose. Her eyes could not even completely follow them, as they freely feigned each other with unequal footwork. That couldn't be the ability of a 10-year-old boy.
Ow!
Rose narrowed her eyes as she gazed at him. No other children present at the experimental facility had such skill. Are you surprised? Rose was caught unaware by Penne, the orphanage director, standing next to her. As she watched, Penne did not seem to mind their training. Evidently, the scene of the two training was unordinary. My girl will save the world someday. Simple to leave with a face like that. That's what I think, anyways. And it smiled at Rose's narrowed eyes. But that's what Carmine says, and it must be true.
Hey, what are you saying?
She did not understand. Rose was quite greatly puzzled. Carmine has premonitions.
Premonitions?
She became even more confused. Would you believe me if I said that he rescued guided by those premonitions?
Did you say that?
And nodded. Rose did not get the impression that she was being deceived. I'll tell you what kind of premonition it was. But your current encounter with him was not a coincidence. It wasn't a coincidence? Was there significance to their encounter? So, did this body of Rose have to have significance as well? Intense training continued in the courtyard. At any rate, the child's opponent was riding him no means of guidance. Was Carmine thoughtless, or was it Red that was strange? He seems to be training them in various other arts. It's an airship operation are being driven into chocolate. Seem to be talking about the airship stored in the back of the warehouse.
Chocolate is only 5 years old, isn't she? Isn't she?
That's right. Pennant firmly nervously replied. Rose felt like she was not joking.
How?
He knew about Miles' experimental facility, imparted unusual training to children, and had premonition used to predict the future. And looking at Carmine, a mysterious feeling appeared within Rose's chest. Who in the world was he? Rose heard the sound of an impact from a distance. She could feel the uncomfortable presence of the dark forest at night fresh in her memory. She realized that the two had caught up to her again. Without telling anyone, Rose quietly rushed out of the orphanage.
I'm sorry.
Looking back at the orphanage, she muttered only those words before running towards the outskirts of the village. The pursuers were part of the 7 children who were given numbers like Rose. Although Rose was always in her trance form, her chances of winning were slim against the 2 who rode high-mobility robos, and if she ran away, she could avoid involving the orphanage. The sound of an explosion roared from behind, causing Rose's heart to jump. She instantly stopped to her feet and turned around. Black smoke descended from the direction of the orphanage.
How good?
Rose was shocked they attacked the orphanage without finding her first. The demon whispered into Rose's ear that with this, she may be able to escape. Sirius might have lost sight of Rose. If she wanted to survive, the right choice would be to escape. That's right, even though it was the correct choice, her heart felt pained. The image of the innocent Red and chocolate drifted into her mind. She had yet to thank Carmen and Penne for taking her in. Her feet had not moved for a while. Nevertheless, Rose took a step.
you ran away after all, number 4.
As she suddenly heard that voice from overhead, Rose's spine froze. She immediately jumped back to the site. A small explosion occurred shortly thereafter. The ground on which Rose currently stood was largely cracked.
So much trouble was taken to help you when you fell down into this place, and yet you abandoned them so easily.
On the roof of the house, Rogue broadly grinned as she rode on the back of her rowboat. Rose could not say anything. She bit her lip and desperately looked away from feelings of guilt.
That's right. It's only natural that you would abandon the inferior species.
The sharp words of Rogue were piercing. Rose began covering her ears.
My, are you going to run away again?
The Rogue placed on. In fact, the robo stood in front of Rose's eyes. The dust kicked by its large body was blown through the wind as it shook the stone pavement. The previously unaware villagers who heard the noise gathered together. Rose pulled her hat over her head and broke out into a run. As to block her way, the robo fired exploding light bullets from its mouth. Rose had to drop to her body so as to not be blown away by the blast. However, her head had unfortunately been blown away. Rogue's face twisted into a cruel expression. Rose did not want to use her powers because the villagers had gathered to watch. She did not want to display her abnormal abilities. Unlike with Rogue, who had not intended to conceal her own hybrid transformed body.
You make me sick. How long are you going to keep up with that sweet little girl act?
A rageful Rogue attacked Rose without caring for their surroundings. Houses and roads were being destroyed one after another. Rose dodged her way through the kicks and punches of Rose's rowboat. Due to virtually being nothing more than a blinko, her agility was outstanding.
She's relentless.
Even so, it was difficult to dodge her completely. With a defensive stance, Rose was only barely able to take hits sent out from the blind spot of the robo's tail. She was thrown against the wall of a house with tremendous roars and screams occurred among the villagers. This force I would have ordinarily killed someone instantly, yet Rose unsteadily stood up from the classroom. However, it seemed that some of her ribs had fractured, with every breath an intense pain. Pain ran through her side. It's still alive? Those guys, what are they? Over here, 2 monsters are going crazy! There were such voices in the distance.
You're wrong.
She wanted to cry out loud. She was not a monster.
Shut up, low-life bastards.
Rogue's hostility was directed towards the villagers as well. But despite feeling like a risky thing to do, Rose raised her voice to attract Rose's attention.
You were Canada originally, weren't you? I've forgotten such old times. I'm a hybrid now. With a time limit until you become worthless junk.
Rose's cold statement completely changed the expression on Rogue's face. Rose continued provoking her.
It's amusing how you blindly obey him, even though sooner or later you're going to stop being useful to him. You want to say that again?
Rogue's rage was intensifying more than ever before.
After all, number 5, you're nothing more than number 1 and number 2's backup. You're wrong. I was chosen to lead this world as a hybrid. I'm fundamentally different from the inferior Blinko and Kanunu species. You're not different! I said you're wrong!
With her robo, Rogue rushed down on Rose, who could not suspiciously move out of the way due to the pain of her sides. Rose was easily grabbed by both of her arms and pulled high. With both of her arms being bitten to and her sides in severe pain, an anguished voice leaked out. Cold sweat from her forehead flowed down her cheek.
You say you're not a hybrid. Why do you deny yourself? I am not a monster!
Rose persistently refused, making Rogue's fury swelled more and more.
Look here! Look at me! I have no ears on my head, a short nose, and no tail. I don't even have any fur. However, that is the mark of a hybrid.
With her robo's talon, Rose tore away the robe wrapped around Rose and ripped up the clothes she wore underneath. Her fur skin was exposed. However, all the villagers were gazing up at Rose. Eyes full of awe were staring at her normal form. However, that was the reality. However much Rose tried to deny it, she would never be accepted by the village.
Admit it, you're not a Blinko, but a hybrid. The chosen species. It's wonderful. Here, let the inferior species have a look. No!
She could not bear the treatment, and as expected, tears overflowed. But the tears overflowed from Rose's eyes. Your eyes are pretty messed up, seriously. Then a voice came to be heard from out of nowhere. Immediately after, an energy ball hit the head of the robo that Rogue was maneuvering. The jaw of the robo biting its Rose's arms loosened. In a flash, a jet black wind blew by Rogue's side. It was not unreasonable for Rogue to be shocked. Before she knew it, Rose was embraced by a newly appeared jet black robo. Carmine was on the back of it. You've got some nerve to be keeping quiet about this.
I'm sorry.
Alright, being honest and apologizing is proof that you're a good kid. Carmine's eyes were gentle. They weren't colored for curiosity or awe. They just simply stared at Rose. Different tears flowed for her. Carmine lit Rose off on the stone pavement. Rose. Red and Chocolate came over and covered Rose in a robe. They had Carmen's scent.
What are you? And more importantly, what's Rose that machine?
Rogue was spreading her eyes, and it seemed she could not have believed that her own robot was inferior to the one with high-speed mobility. Rose, you are not a monster. I'm talking to someone with a fallen heart, not a monster. Carmen's black tone robe was somewhat dirty in places. On closer inspection, the parts on the robe was back were not entirely assembled. One of the wings from its flight mode was still missing.
You really hope to beat me with that heap of junk?
I'll find a way. Fiercely gritting its lips, Carmen closed the distance between him and Rogue in an instant. Rogue's scornful grin vanished immediately. Not wasting any strikes, Carmen's robo swung its sword with refined movements. It was like a battle between an adult and a child, similar to a scene of red training.
Amazing.
Everyone could see the large difference in ability between the two. Carmen was able to predict Rogue's movements and ran her down as he kept on the offensive. Rose desperately eluded the sword swings on Carmen's robo, but was gradually being cornered and damaged. From the start, Rogue had not even been given the chance to counterattack. Before she could fire light bullets from her talons, her vital areas were hit in rapid succession despite being on the defensive. Realizing the difference in skill, Rose challenged the power struggle. The sword of Carmen and the talons of Rogue closely clashed into a stalemate. Neither side was moving in the struggle, and yet Carmen was clearly pushing forward. The edge of his sword was steadily pushing Rogue's face. You fool! With a malicious intent, the edge of Rose's lips rose into a broad grin. She aimed at... Oh.
You fool!
With a malicious intent, the edge of Rogue's lips rose into a broad grin. She had Carmen's back when an explosive shell drew close with tremendous speed. Master! Surprised, Red and Chocolate stretched on their toes to look for the location of impact. The shot had by no means missed them. Master! Her shot echoed along the stone pavement. No one was able to understand what had exactly happened. Unbelievably, the shell was slashed in two just before hitting Carmine. Before I knew it, another sword was grasped in the left hand of the rover that Carmine operated.
Two swords?
Rose showed her dismay. Furthermore, the shell split in two, sunk into the stove pavement without detonating. The scene suffused when the intention sliced off with the sword. It was no longer the work of something supernatural. Carmen returned with his sword and slashed through Rogue's robo. Its arm and leg were cut off simultaneously and rolled across the pavement. In a hurry, Rogue flashed her anti-gravity field generating wings and created distance between her and Carmen.
How dare you!
Rose kept still in the air, and her eyes seething with hatred. She attempted to shift into a nosedive type by slanting her position.
That's enough! We're returning, Rogue.
Vermilion!
Rogue, who was about to attack, halted in the air again. The nerve man pursuing Rose nearly appeared. It seems that the furious Rogue could not heed him at all. However, she unexpectedly got over her combat readiness obediently. Carmine's mocking voice echoed across. What? Out of time already? You guys are pretty shabby.
Bastard!
At Carmen's provocation, Rogue became enraged once more, and Vermilion attempted to pass her.
Among us 7 children, was there a man who ran away before being disposed of?
What's that got to do with anything?
It seems to have wielded swords. He appears out along with the AZI series of machines. The image of him were gotten rid of.
Huh? And then this guy is really number 7?
Rogue's eyes were mixed slightly with the color of surprise. Don't brand me with a number! He spat out his words with displeasure. Though she did not want to deny Carmine, Rose was greatly confused.
Carmine is also a hybrid?
However, she had heard rumors of a number that had run away long ago.
It's time. Let's go.
I guess it can't be helped.
Although Rogue was deeply frustrated, in the end the two withdrew together on their robos. Then, Rose's whole body became covered in chills. In the distance, the two robos retreated, with explosive bloodlust welling up, and then, Rogue's robo began emitting a faint light.
Bats!
The light from Rogue's robo began blinking brighter and healing enormous amounts of energy. Involuntary rose grew from the back of the throat. A tremendous wave of vicious pleasure came to her. The jaw of Rose was open to the village. The aim was at the center of the village. Those guys, are they planning to annihilate the village? With an altered expression, Carmen began to run towards Rogue at full speed. At the same time, Carmen's robo started to shine. Don't, Master! Your robo can't fly! Rogue shouted as panicking. Rose was slowing here. Ah! Carmen fired energy bullets for a sword by Rogue's robo, having no effect on him. As expected. What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
The further Master's energy bullets get away from him, the more they lose power. Rose spoke quickly as he explained the rose without pause. Rogue's robo covered the whole sky with a whirlpool light so large that even the sun would be concerned. That's dangerous, is it? There's no way it's gonna be shot us, right? Soldiers were able to sense Rogue's malice. Gradually felt a sense of crisis. At the same time, charms began gradually shaking the ground. Oh, run away! The panicking villagers began fleeing in the blink of an eye. The village is gonna... Red clenched his teeth while Chuckle clinged his arm, too frightened to move. With that amount of energy, there would be nowhere in the village to escape. Rose! You gotta do it somehow! Carmen came back and raised his voice for a distance.
Me?
Rose! Red held Chocolate in his arms to protect her. The situation continued. Red and Chocolate's bodies had become nothing more than charred objects. Don't confuse yourself by thinking about it! Quickly, do it! Carmen's fierce shout strained her ear. Red and Chocolate looked up at Rose in anticipation. She sure didn't want to see the two of them suffer. She remembered Carmen's words. Talking to someone with a fallen heart, not a monster.
That's right. I'm not a monster.
Rose concluded that using her high powers would not make her a monster. Determining her feelings, many things came out from her without hesitation. Rose increasingly poured all her magical power in her trance state, spinning towards principles. Her high-speed wave could no longer be heard by anyone's ears.
I'm a Salalusa, soy a Salalusa. Now Salalusa!
Rose's protection magic activated. The dazzling light emanated from Rose's whole body and spread out in a hemispherical shape. The mountains of red and chocolate fell in amazement at the scene. Immediately following that, Rose fired waves of energy from her robo and directly hit Rose's protective shield. With Rose completely robbed of her mental strength, she strained her voice and lost her willpower. From a distance, the complex power of light that shrouded the air curved as if it were distorting.
Little more.
The blood in Rose's body was assaulted by a boiling like pain, even though her concentration was not disturbed. The energy waves were forcibly turned around and pierced through the sky, orbiting it. Incredible! Red was staring up at the sky. When the waves of energy stopped firing, the village was wrapped in silence. After a while, delayed cheering came all throughout the village. It had yet to be seen whether or not Rogue had left or he left.
Is it over?
Rose felt such relief in her heart for everyone's safety, but she felt lightheaded. She was exhausted to such an extent that she could no longer stand. Consciousness faded and she collapsed forward. Someone gently caught her. Even without confirming it, she understood who the consent was from. I never thought you would have gone so far. Nicely done. Someone grasped Rose's head and toughly tossed it around. She didn't know why she found it comforting. Although many buildings were properly damaged in Carmen and Rogue's battle, miraculously not a single person was injured. Well, this is a pretty alright outcome. Go on, laugh. In this world, he who laughs last, laughs best. If she was supposed to laugh, Rose did not know what kind of expression she was supposed to make. She had completely forgotten how to laugh. Strangely, the facial muscles behind it exists. Carmen listened up Rose. She lied. Rose's body. Due to using up her powers hybrid, Rose's body returned to the appearance of a Blinko. Rose slightly gasped while staring at her desired hands. You're surprisingly young. About 14, 15 years old?
No, don't look.
Seeing her original appearance was embarrassing in a different sense. Rose covered her face with both hands to conceal it. Big sis, were you fixed? Chuckle looked at Rose with a curious face.
No, only for a moment. I'll revert back soon.
Rose answered Chuckle up in the gasp between her fingers, moving both of Rose's hands out of the way. Carmen struck the silver dividing her face and probably peered into it further. Rose had no power to resist him.
Stop.
As he approached, her face became hot. She hoped it wasn't red. Rose had no choice but to bear it. Then for some reason, Carmen became lost for words. You're... Carmen staggered his feet and mumbled something. Rose didn't know what to make. Phew! Carmen looked up in the sky and with a long sigh. Rose was turned to gazing up at the beautiful spreading sunset. The sunset's color dyed the air very gently.
Thank you. Rose
Mother with a low, very low voice. Did you say something?
No, nothing.
There were people there accepting of Rose. To Rose, who had stood at the edge of despair, they lent a helping hand. It was nothing special to them. They did naturally. Still, for Rose, she was happy enough to be brought to tears. To live in this beautiful world. That was what she strongly wished for. Finding peace for the first time since birth, Rose fell asleep. Part 2. Remember 2010 issue of Red Dated Children. Let's eat, let's eat. The lively voices of a boy and girl spoke musically. Yes, let's eat. And everyone put a large dish in the middle of the table. A large amount of meat dishes have been served. Oh, this looks good. With a fork in one hand, a man reached for the food. He wore a hat despite being indoors. It was afternoon there at Pene's order. A 10-year-old boy, a 5-year-old girl, a 20-year-old man, and a silver-haired 14-year-old girl. So 5 people sat at the table. The boy's brown bushy tail gave him a mischievous appearance as he quickly ate the meat dishes with intense vigor. Hey Rat, you can't eat just meat. The very old-looking man blocked the boy's fork. It's just some meat. That's so cruel, master. You're not even going to eat anything but the meat either. I'm older, therefore I don't need anything else. Hey, Red. I'll talk while you're eating. Carmine, you have 4 minutes too. What about chocolates? For example, a little. Dependent had an annoyed expression while chatting their antics. Red's younger sister sitting next to him continued to smile at the delicious meal. With her cheeks stuffed, she unconsciously stroked her head, giving a cute appearance, along with her pinkish hair color. In the pleasant spring, Penny and the man lowered their eyes at the tails winding and swaying. However, there was a person among them with unmoving hands and an concerned expression on their face. What's the matter, Rose? You haven't eaten at all. She was a silver-haired girl named Rose. Generally, Rose could not beat Red in Carmine's vigorous appetite, but now she was only eating vegetables. The girl was neither a Kananu nor a Finko, but a hybrid artificially created at an experimental facility, and was pursued because she had fled from it. Furthermore, apart from her silver hair, the girl had an unusual appearance of having no fur on her body, no tail, and exposed pale skin. Because of that, she was persecuted by the people enough but nowhere to go. That's why Carmen decided to shelter the girl about half a month ago. Every day, Rose wore a large hat and covered her hands with bandages to conceal her skin. What's wrong? Is your stomach hurt?
Well,
Rose's unusually short and generally expressionless lips looked slightly sour as she reproachfully looked at Carmen's bed.
because today is the 14th. People at the age of 14 can only eat vegetables, can't they?
What are you talking about?
That's what Red told me.
Rose tightly gripped the fork, tried to hold back tears accumulating at the edge of her eyes. For clarification, Carmine turned his attention towards Red, who was devoting himself to shoving meat into his mouth. Just so you know, there's no rule like that. Rose behind her eyes and stared at Red, Carmine, and the dish in the middle.
Was it a lie?
Rose, in this world, the person who gets tricked is at fault. Rose, in this world, the person who gets tricked is at fault. Red proudly stuck out his chest.
Red, that's a bad habit.
The teary-eyed Rose bit her lip in frustration. Staying in rhythm, Red displayed himself, filling his mouth with the flavor meat to Rose. Oh well, Carmine found no use in arguing with Red and expressed his sympathies to Rose by raising his fist at him. Rose held her fork and groaned as the meal in the dish was already gone, and long since disappeared into Red and Carmine's stomach. Grief, Rose must not know much about the world. Rose, who had just run away from the facility she had mostly grown up in, was truly naive to the ways of the world. As opposed to the others, bustling, Chocolate continued to eat at her own pace with a satisfied face. The dining table was noisy as usual. The various floating islands of many sizes that made up the Shepherd Republic have been planet all throughout the year. More than 30 years have passed since the second incantation war with the neighboring Avicenna, and the Kananu and Paninko were no longer disputing with each other, and coexisted on cordial terms. About 10 kilometers south from the Republic's largest floating island, the capital of Faro, is a small island with a population of only a few hundred people. At the edge of the small island, from the backyard upon his bench, the sound of intense sword fighting resonated. The boy swung a sword towards the man. It was daily combat practice. They resumed after meals. It was different from usual this time, as if Carmen was being pushed to the defensive by Red. Rose flushed in astonishment. Oh my, I wonder did Carmine finally overdo it? Ella narrowed her eyes and rang her coat. Carmine didn't move a step, although he did not dual-wield swords, the only used one hand. There was something about Red's sword skills that truly looked like it had improved. Rose, you come too! Carmine called to Rose.
Me too?
Rose was surprised. It was the first time she was asked to participate in the training. She'd been neglecting her own abilities, and Carmine was aware of it. Even so, calling her over like that, she wondered what his intentions were. Come on, you should head on over as well, Rose. You might get a chance for revenge. With a low voice and mischievous smile, Penny spread on. Oh, it was idiot. Rose begging for Rock to be red. You think you can win against me? You said before. Chocolate slowly puffed up her cheeks and scolded for his rude manner of speech. You're copying Master! Master! Red arrogantly slung his sword around. In her current state, Rose was filled with irritation. The various flavorful meat dishes she failed to taste came up in her mind and went away. She didn't want to use her power. Even so, it depended on the time and situation. Rose was convinced there were some things in the world that could not be forgiven, and regret for food outweighed them all.
That child.
Rose heard that without changing her expression. Surrounded her slightly fluctuated. Can you seriously do it? Make sure not to kill him. Fur-filled Rose, Carmen curved the ends of his lips onto a broad smile. Even in the television program she watched the other day, it was fate that evil would be punished. Rose only saw all the power she had kept hidden away. Such bloodthirst! Red's face instantly faded blue. Without waiting for a starting signal, Rose disappeared from Red's field of vision. In the blink of an eye, she revolved to the back of Red and began casting incantation. What? Where? Red immediately felt her presence and attempted to turn around and strike, but Rose once again moved behind Red with nice feet. What? Whoa, where? Rose vanished from Red's sight. He could sense nothing more than her presence. But, however, Red could suddenly see her figure, causing both his confusion and his uneasiness to grow stronger. What? Then Rose's incantation activated, and a power of light materialized in the air. Rose skillfully created a barrier around Red. Is this dangerous? Red sensed an inescapable aura and attempted to escape from the barrier of light created by Rose. But it made his decisions a little too... Yeah. The barrier, which was composed into a spherical shape, gradually narrowed its size until it was finally about 7 miles around Red. I can't move! Thinking how she applied the protection magic could also be used in other ways. If she combined his movements, she could deal with him as she liked. Rose kept only Red's limbs strapped, freeing the remaining parts of his body for the barrier. She then calmly stood in front of Red and clutched her breast with all her might. I'm sorry, wait, Rose, that was wrong! Huh? With her middle finger, Rose flicked the nose of Red, who was firmly closing his eyes. Ow! This was an intense pain. His screams left a pleasant feeling in her. Hey, are you going to only use protection magic during practice? Carl was astounded. However, he knew that to defeat you, one must not hold back. That's what the heroine shows that children got into nowadays also said. Cleared by your tail is punishment. Rose make the stoic.
Swear by your tail is punishment.
Rose make the stoic heroine's signature phrase and certainly thrust her finger before her. But my tail's already. Because Rose had been playing, she kept the barrier up. Chocolate probably tickled Red quickly. Stop!
Children must always face self-reflection.
Oh dear. Well then, how about we give Red Skin the rose? The rose with a wink. I was bad. With a miserable voice, Red self-reflected on his actions. Mansell Village was scheduled to close next week, and the other orphans had been taken in by different orphanages and crossroads. Currently, there were only 2 people left, Red and Chocolate. Goran's earnings as a hunter were the main source of income for the orphanage. But because Carmine was leaving soon, he would be unable to maintain it. I don't know the reason why myself, but that's what'll probably happen. That was Carmen's premonition. I said that it was a divine message, but it was still an incredible story to Rose.
They'll be gone.
For Rose, who was rejected from the world with great pain, she was able to come across a place of peace. However, that would all be lost very soon. Therefore, before I go, I want to make something to help Red and Chocolate become independent. For the purpose, Carmine drove techniques into Red for the sake of subsisting in the world. For the mechanics of Chocolate, he taught her how to operate and maintain an airship. This guys, I gotta be able to save the world. Carmine had cared for Red for 2 years and trained him with his premonitions. Master's premonitions really are right on the money. Master's premonitions really are right on the money. Did you forget about Rose's violent revenge just now? Asked Professor Shining Eyes. Come to think of it, how do you get your premonitions? I guess even Master will occasionally space out. I heard he sometimes sees them in his dreams. Oh, maybe he's seeing one right now. When I sat still in a chair and Red line of sight pursued it. Maybe Master's sending for that light. Think so? Don't you think it's just some strange woman up? It's just a strange woman up that shows up in my dreams. Think so? Don't you know it's just some strange woman up that shows up in my dreams? I have a dream in which he was traveling together with an unfamiliar Palinko, despite not knowing if it was a distant future or an event that would soon occur. I know that. Isn't that why you say it's that person's destiny? Prakash chuckle absentmindedly looked up in the air with colorful cheeks, seeing that some sort of delusions of romance had been provoked. In contrast, Red didn't seem to get in wasn't much interested.
Is that so?
Rose felt in her heart that had become discomposed. For some reason, her chest was in pain. Just who would the woman he said would accompany him be? It was later in the evening. These requests are overwhelming. With a worried look on his face, Carmen prepared the birdcage for his eyes with the airship anchor. Another's occupation involved general tasks like undertaking delivery of things that could not be sent by ordinary courier services, such as living creatures. The request was to deliver a small bird called a bellbee to the northern islands far from the capital. They had already taken a name in it, Bell. Another quest was for the collection of a scarce plant that was native only to Armene at the end of the Western Islands. It seemed that the doctor's client desired it. Airships were required for round trips in small islands located at small places where regular flight services were not operated. Both job deadlines were due the day after tomorrow, and the directions seemed to differ from each other. It seemed that they would be unable to make it in time by reporting them one after another. You're not declining one of those? I would just be adding an extra errand to do. Oh dear. Well, I could decline a job, but... Carmen scratched his head and gave a disheartening reply to Hannah's question. Your premonition dream? Yeah, only postpone the inevitable if I avoid this. Carmen watched Rose meaningfully when he said that. Rose did not understand the intent of his stare. She tilted her head as she looked back. Either way, I've got no choice but to ask one of you to take on an errand. Rose said that and looked between Red and Rose. Me, I'll do it. She raised his hand. Those would just get completely lost.
Hey, that's not true. Rose
Denied that right away. Also, if Rose walks through the town, she'll make a huge fuss like before.
That's...
Rose was demanding of people's reaction to her response. Hey, don't hang your head down like that. Cheer up. Carmen roughly gripped Rose's hand and tussled it around. I guess it can't be helped. We'll let both of you have to do it. This might be useful, Rose. He presented her with a three-piece set of obviously cheap-looking artificial nose, ears, and tail. Rose felt like a fool was being made of her, and her whole body became hot.
Don't play around.
Rose rejected it and spontaneously pushed away. I was being serious. Carmen's face became troubled.
I can at least do the mission without those attachments. Don't treat me like a child.
Ooh, in that case, me and Rose will compete to see which of us complete the delivery the fastest.
I won't lose to Red.
Rose and Red's gazes struck each other, causing sparks to scatter. Will the guys really be okay? In exasperated, Carmen scratched his head from the top of his hat while sighing. In the end, Brad and Chocolate made the trip to collect the plants in an airship, the Asmodeus. Fortunately, the weather on the way to destination would be calm, making it ideal for flight practice. I was entrusted with transportation on the Bellbird, since she was only traveling on a regular service and would be able to do the job's contents. However, after Colin ran and finally saw her off, and she brought by herself, Rose subsequently felt an uneasiness closing her chest.
What should I do?
Rose expressionlessly muttered at her inner thoughts, causing her to become flustered. She made a bold claim, boasting that she would be up to the task on her own, but in reality, she was not. Rose put her hat low over her eyes and concealed herself with a robe to make her body appear small. It wasn't very reliable to just wrap both of her hands in the bandages Rose capable, avoiding exposure of her skin. From the beginning, Rose knew practically nothing about the facility and small island she was on. It was the middle of the night when she escaped the facility and slipped into a freight ship in which she didn't even know where she was flying to at the time. The only thing that stuck in her memory was that no matter where they went, people were cold. Therefore, she regretted giving in to Fred's provocation.
That Red. Only because I respond to him like that.
Words flowed out one after another. Somehow Red was able to involve Rose in a competition with him. But his heart was always somewhat a little mean-spirited. In the cage, the bellbird was chirping. He was injured and had a bandage wrapped around its wing. It showed no signs of flight. It required serious responsibility. If she failed, Carmine, who trusted Rose to be up to the task, would be disappointed. Once again, it would be made apparent that her existence was unnecessary to the world. For Rose, who was on the verge of being disposed of at the facility, that thought was more terrifying than anything else. Rose looked inside the cage. The bellbird ran wild in the cage as if it were frightened.
Don't be scared.
She seemed to have been rejected by the bird and became sad. And she got Chocolate speaking to affectionately. Rose called out its name in a hushed voice.
Belle?
Surprisingly, it chirped in response to Rose's call.
Belle!
When she called out to it again, it replied happily without fear this time. Rose repeatedly called out its name. Each time the bellbird voiced a chirp. It seemed that it accepted Rose, which was exponentially gratifying for her.
Is Belle suffering from being put in a cage like that? I've suffered like that.
As far back as she could remember, she had always lived within the facility. During her torturous experience, she had reached the point of near death countless times. Truly, it was only due to luck that she was still alive to this day. Rose could not help but see the birdcage just netting its cold iron bars and chains.
Does Belle want to see more of the world? I see. That's right, isn't it?
Rose took the bellbird out of the cage, as Phyllis seemed to be unable to fly due to injury. As it jumped onto Rose's hand, it ran up her arm and got onto her left shoulder. It sat there in a fixed position with a cheery appearance.
Well then, nice to meet you.
Rose was treated by the situation and lightly walked towards a regular service flight for departure. Capital City of Pharaoh greatly different from the orphanage of Smallwood, both in size and number of buildings, as well as the magnitude of people coming and going.
What is this?
Rose was absolutely overwhelmed and her mouth hung open. She needed to change her to another scheduled flight, but she had no idea where to go. She was completely lost when it became dark and some unknown group of men began to talk to her. She didn't know the exact age, but she thought that perhaps they were the same age as Carmine. What's the matter? Is it your first time at Barrow? In that's the case, we'll show you around. The man spoke over familiar and tightly pulled Rose's hand.
No, thank you. I'm fine.
Ooh, you have a pretty cute voice, don't you? Let me get a better look at your face. Mr. Walking was fine to him, but the men followed their president. Oh, what's this? Your pet? One of them reached their hand out to the bellbird on Rose's left shoulder. Causing it to flare as it panicked.
Don't touch Belle!
She raised her face and slapped her hand away. However, her hat fell off at the moment. The expressions on the man's face completely changed. Even Rose's unconcealed face. Bowman stepped back. She was sad, but it was also a fact that she had gotten used to reactions like that. What the hell is that thing? Is it a monster? That face is creeping me out. A mental voice echoed across the town square. While covering her face, Rose picked up her hat and ran for the spot. The white pencil she could hear in the background caused tears to flow from her mouth. Despite growing accustomed to it, the pain in her heart felt would not change. Her unchanging behavior caused Rose to forget for a while that this was the natural reaction. Get!
Oops, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Even if she had been running without properly looking, she ended up bumping into something. Despite losing her balance, Rose managed to endure it and brace herself.
I'm sorry.
Rose wholeheartedly wanted not to stand out and apologized without lifting her face before leaving her. When Rose walked through the streets, the words of Red, who would surely make a fuss over this, came to mind. She would perhaps bring it to her attention and regret it. Meanwhile, the bellbird came to constantly chirp in a state that had not changed at all. Unchanging behavior. Rose grasped and understood that virtue. Rose held her discomposed breathing, confirmed there was no one paying attention to her, and became relieved at last. Whereupon her hunger was stimulated by a pleasant smell in the air that hung in the air. Somehow, she became lost in a corner where she blindly ran around food stalls lined with Rose. As if on cue, her stomach growled. She recalled she hadn't had lunch at all.
Please give me a piece of that skewer.
All right, young lady. Sonora quickly applied soy sauce to the geese skewer and presented the Rose. Huh? There's no... Huh?
There's no wallet.
She looked in the Rose pockets for money, but there was nothing inside. She thought that it was supposed to be there, however, it had gone missing before she was even aware of it.
Did I drop it?
That's because her color faded. Let's follow your beat, young lady.
This is it. Thank goodness.
Her nerves came to stop. She did not want to think about what terrible things would happen if she had lost what she was supposed to take care of. The girl's skewer was incredibly delicious. The juicy taste spreading in her mouth created a wonderful harmony with the meat juices and spices. With her stomach full, Rose remembered her original judgment.
That's right. Unless I get on a regular flight.
However, there were a number of homes for arrival and departure, and Rose didn't know which one it was at all. She asked them when they could tell her, but she didn't want to cause a disturbance. At last, she was unable to move at the streetcar when she heard a well-projected voice. We're bound for home number 7 in Docks, right?
That's right. Let's hurry. It's 13 o'clock.
Rose was thankful for the timely conversation she overheard. Good grief, what's she doing? Is she really okay? Brown was watching over Rose attentively from undercover. On the way thus far, Carmen was tired of having to provide Rose with what's. He had stayed behind to scold the flirtatious men, beat up the pickpocketing delinquents, simply returned the wallet, and just now, nonchalantly guided Rose to her exit. Sorry, it's 13 o'clock. I have to say this again. Are you complaining? Hold on. Please forgive me, sir. The his voice left cheek so pathetically as he released the written paper with the words he had read off. He had learned the hard way and wouldn't be pickpocketing anytime soon. Rose is older than Red, however, her excessive lack of world experience is extraordinarily dangerous. Tom wished he had told her from the beginning, but there was also a desire of his for Rose to live confidently in the world. Besides, he had other reasons for letting Rose act independently. How soon would those problems going to start? The shadows of the hybrid duo who attacked the week before flickered in his mind. I planned to sever myself from Rose. Evading the situation would just be delaying the inevitable. It would settle as soon as possible. But that Rose girl, she truly is plenty emotional. Did he cry and get angry, although her smile seemed to be a little stiff? The sensitive girl's reactions were fierce. Most of the time, Rose held few facial expressions. At the facility, her body was exploited by cruel experiments, but in the end, she had ran away, only to be treated like a monster and chased. She would be unable to bear it unless she concealed her emotions. He understood Rose's feelings. All now, with the small bellbird accompanying her, Rose showing her true face. While he thought about these things, he consciously suddenly became distant for a moment. Recognizing that his usual particular dream had begun, I remember his body. A number of vague images floating in his experience's mind, including a scene of a hybrid man who goes to front each other, causing Carmen to awaken. Let's see. There'll be any time now. Carmen proceeded to board a scheduled airship flight in order to pursue Rose. The airship continued to fly through the night, and was about to arrive at the Northern Island soon. Rose was out on the deck looking at the outside scenery. It was quite windy.
Beautiful.
Rose were done thinking. The morning sun reflected on a small floating island that was only a lake, tucked into where the surface to appear golden. And a large skyfish flew beside the airship.
Wow.
Fish many times larger than Rose flew through the sky swiftly. Bright floating energy from their white stomachs expanded by accumulating crystal particles. Everything she saw was new to her. There were many things Rose had yet to know in the world. We will be arriving at Dex momentarily. In the announcement that played from the speaker, Rose leaned forward from the hammer and focused eyes.
I see it.
It was just a short distance to the target hot springs. The glowing eye was exposed to crystal ore that was converted into thermal energy, causing steam to rise.
Bill, the shaking might be dangerous, so you're going to have to go in the cage.
In accordance with Rose's words, the bellbird obediently settled in the cage, feeling its falling from the gap of the knitting and stared at Rose's face.
We'll be there soon, so...
But then the bellbird abruptly went into a frenzy. What's wrong?
What's wrong?
Then suddenly beyond the handrail, a large machine appeared. Before Rose could even understand what it was, the machine struck. Rose's body acted on its own accord, the space between her hair nearly evading the attack.
What?
Oh well.
It seemed to have approached from a blind spot at the bottom of the ship. The man on the back of the row was two people who pursued Rose the other week. His name was Vermilion. At Bond's experiment facility, he was the man who was given the number 6.
I would have liked you for your partner to I would like for your partner to have been there. However, time's already up. If you wish for me to return this, then tomorrow morning, Benedex is East 30th at this kind site.
The birdcage which was supposedly to have been in her hand was stolen. Bill was clasping the birdcage, but it seemed like he could crush it at any time. Rose got out with the limits of her voice. The robe was separate from the ship before her eyes.
What should I do? What should I do? What should I do?
At the top of the sky, she could not resist feeling helpless. After getting out the airship, Rose headed straight to the place of interest. She had contacted the orphanage from a public telephone. However, both Panay and Carmine were absent.
I have to manage this. He's aiming for me.
Vermilion had limited time to be in his trance form. Therefore, he had to take the bell for the sake of luring Rose. Until she accomplished her goal, she would be unable to do anything for the bellbird.
It looks like I have no choice but to believe him for now.
Rose said to herself. The intended meeting place was a cliff with 3 distinct sides and no escape at any angle. She had a good day to rest her mind to prepare for the following morning. She was naturally unable to sleep. And spent the entire night panicking. Before dawn, the surrounding became a bit more bright as cool air flew through the valley.
I've come.
A sharp sensation gave the feeling that the subject was approaching.
You kept me waiting.
Vermilion rode on his robo as he revealed his appearance. Power was being transmitted and filling through his whole body.
Where's Belle?
Here.
With both of his hands, Vermilion toyed with birdcage.
Don't treat Belle cruelly like that.
As she heard chirping that sounded like the bell was shrieking, Rose grabbed hold of her heart that was visible in anger.
I'm like Rogue. I don't think so. Enjoying battle. It's fine as long as I can bring you back to your corpse. If I do that, then no.
Even if you kill me, he won't accept you.
Whether the experiment succeeded, that was everything to him. He wasn't in need of a conventional tomb. I was Vermilion unable to see that.
Then what else could I do?
That I don't know.
But she didn't know. That's why Rose ran away before she could dispose them. There was more to the world than merely the experiment facility. The world was vast.
That's enough. There's no point in talking.
As he said that, the rope was found open and fired light bullets at Rose. The body barely evaded them. He ran hollowed him out the ground, causing a bird scent to hang in the air.
Don't try to dodge it. You take one more step. I'll just see what will happen next.
Villain lifted the birdcage towards the cliff.
I'll say this. Defensive spells are no good either.
Damn.
Rose was interrupted before she could chant the incantation. She bit her lip in regret. With no means to strike, her impatience grew stronger. In desperation, she waved very well, trying to find a way to counterattack. As she was her feet, the next blow was fired. Her body moved on its own. She dodged him by quickly turning her body. However, the light bullets had pierced through Rose's right leg. The sensation from the injury was hot. The strength in her right leg involuntarily gave out, and she came to her knees. Sight delayed, unbearable pain hit Rose. The cold sweat ran down her forehead.
You should have listened when I said not to move.
Belle. Give her back.
Vermilion made a show of lifting up the birdcage.
Stop, please.
Rose's desperate pleading was in vain. Vermilion casually cast the birdcage down the cliff.
No!
The screams roaring out from Rose were tearing her throat. As if in slow motion, the birdcage languidly fell before Rose's eyes, just as though her own screams were delayed. With her left foot, Rose kicked off the ground with her entire strength, with a safe direction. She had dove towards the bottom bell.
Okay, I'm trying to try this. No!
Okay, that was kind of glitchy. When Rose recovered consciousness, she found herself at the bottom of the cliff. She had barely survived due to the aid of the protection incantation she chanted, despite the height she had fallen. However, the inside of Rose's head was pure white. She didn't think of anything. Her eyes, there was a single birdcage that was crushed to the point of losing its rigid shape. Her soul just scattered around in silence. The silence was enough to tell the story. Rose sat down in a daze, tears involuntarily flowed out. She remembered a child that she was close to at the experiment facility who had died. She didn't want to think about such thoughts, and so she contained her emotions and not stir her mind. Nevertheless, she had been careless. From the day she stepped with Carmen, she had unwittingly let her guard down. The velvet air had forgiven her heart, and therefore she was overcome with grief. Hey! Someone's calling Rose. Hey, are you listening? A familiar voice from overhead. Rose looked up with her tear-stained face. How long have you been crying? Come on! Up here on his jet black robo, the man got you. She was bewildered and didn't know what to think. But soon she became filled with sorrow, not just due to the bellbird's death, but also regret for its failing to complete the request.
I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Bellas.
Is this Belle? She shot to descend to her apartment of stuff.
Belle!
This seemed to be a true miracle. The bellbird showed at Rose while on Carmen's head. Rose jumped to Carmen's eyes as the gate at the bellbird. The bellbird immediately flew to Rose's arm and ran up her shoulder and put its beak close to her cheek. Her tears became tears of joy.
Number 7, why are you here? Did you not go to Arvenay?
Ben showed his astonishment with a puzzled face. If only he'd come down the cliff to confirm whether he had Rose lived or died. Is that just Master who came?
Red?
Figures resembling Red appeared from behind the cliff. Red became trapped between both sides. In addition, an airship, the Asmodeus, was circling above the skies for fun. She was being offered by Chocolate. She rolled the wings to respond to Red.
These guys. What is Rogue doing?
One scholar was facing annoyance. The situation had reversed into. Well then, I'll let you guys handle this. Master? You don't be
Treat you like a child.
You don't want to be treated like a child, do you? Please, take care of your own problems yourself. Alright, let's do this, Rose. Don't drag your leg.
You have such impotent habits, Red.
Rose replied with small talk on fighting spirit. Red, with his superior agility, ran away from the robo to look for opportunities to counterattack. Rose was unable to move as much as she thought due to the injury in her right leg. Her chances of winning were dependent on her cooperation with Red. That had already begun and nearly 1 hour had already passed. Although they could put up a good fight, they regularly had few means of attack. Rose's magic incantations were only for defense and Red was weaponless. As it was, they would fall into a stalemate with physical strength being pointless. Dang, it's no good, Rose. Bare hands will do any damage against that enormous thing.
In that case, aim for his physical body.
Rose looked up at Vermilion from above his robo. However, she jumped up there, her unprotected figure would be exposed. It was truly risky. Hey, what's going on? Your moves are becoming dull. I thought it was unnecessary for me to step in.
Finicky.
Master wants to show his own hand. Rose and Red yelled at Carmen for his irritating irresponsibility. However, they could not afford the time. They had no options. Red. When Rose called to him, their lines of sight intersected, and they mutually understood each other's agenda. Alright, let's go! At the same time Rose began casting incantations, Red focused his attention on Vermilion. It was all down to timing. A slight deviation could result in death. The tension in the situation rose until it was uncanny. Rose's blood seemed to boil, and her conscience was on the verge of becoming fading. The degree on which Rose had to carry the burden of maintaining complete force of will assaulted her. Even so, Rose's concentration was undisturbed. Thus, the incantation had cleared and light flew into the air.
No!
On Rose's cue, Red jumped up to Vermilion with full power.
Are you an idiot?
Vermilion's robo opened its mouth, and the high-energy light bullets were fired at the defensive spread from a very close distance. The distance and speed was completely unavoidable. However, the time in which Red was first hit, a bare net of light was formed in front of him. The light bullet's trajectory was bent into the destroyed space.
Once more!
Rose once again spread out one more barrier and bent the tip of the light bullets that were fired here.
Again! One more!
But we're not done yet. Several defensive barriers were launched parallel to each other, so as to conceal Vermilion's surroundings. Along with that, the trajectory of the light bullets was Vermilion's row were also being twisted one after another. Wow. Light bullets flew around at speeds that Vermilion's eyes could not possibly have catch. before finally hitting the Vermilion himself.
Gah!
Vermilion had been flashily struck onto the ground and was repeatedly convulsing. The was continuing the cycle, looping in the air. It could be said that it was a wondrous sight. Yeah, Rose, that was great! Rose exhausted her energy. She was pleased with Red hugging her excitedly. Rose held no power, but she was still immersed in the pleasant feeling of satisfaction. That was some good cooperation just now. Carmen praised them in a low voice. They had no means of attack. They would use each other. So it could not have been done if any had shot light bullets in advance. But even if they didn't know, they could guide it to a place where they could be able to see it. The flame rose came up for me. For some reason, it was transmitted to me. Rose seemed to be in a state of lingering excitement and continued to keep talking rapidly. Rose was able to carry it out because she realized that Rose had also understood it. Unlike Rose praised him, however, at the current time, he seemed nothing but a rival. Everyone, look out! At the time, the frantic voice of Chuckla echoed from the sky. Rose felt a tremendous blood lust irritate her skin as she felt up. However, Rose had been running out of power and was unable to immediately react. Following that, a large explosion blazed up in the location she was gathered from. Hot wind shook Rose's face. When Rose came to, she was within Carmine's arms.
Thanks.
Rose said that despite Carmine's face being up close to her, as her vision was blurred. It was the second time that they were embraced like that, so this time she was clearly aware of her circumstances and felt horribly embarrassed. Her body became arbitrarily hot. We forgot about that one. That's at the middle of this functioning explosion with intense explosion. And as Felk drifted away from the view, clear, another robot had appeared. It was carrying Vermilion.
Your name is Vogue. She was
another hybrid who had pursued Rose the other week. You're too late. It's about time we got even. Rose was powerfully provoked, it seemed that Rogue had attacked the area that Red and the others were in.
Shut up. You'll definitely pay for this debt.
Rogue spat out those parting words as she left. Are we going to give chase? Red pointed at Rogue as he asked Carmen. We better give up. Just after would be akin to suicide. On Scarlet's face and shook his head. What if we saw something like that in a dream? I guess the conclusion has been postponed. I'm gonna exhausted shrug of his shoulders. Even though they had walked into a trap, they still had to probably carry out the request. However, Rose's footsteps were heavy. She wondered how many times she had sighed. She was completely affectionate towards the Velvet and did not want to part from it. However, Carmen told her that it was part of the job. I can't break a promise like that. Seems that was how the world worked. Rose was a day behind schedule and brought the Bellbird delivery to that station. Thank you for going through all the trouble. Everyone with an apron received luggage. This bird we picked up was injured along the way here. It was supposed to be brought here once it could move again. Said as she opened the little birdcage. When the Bellbird donned the elder woman's hand, it nimbly left them into Rose's left shoulder. The Bellbird turned as if everything was normal.
No.
I got nostalgic. Come on, go back.
Come on, go back. Isn't this your home though?
Rose urged the Bellbird to the cage, but it wouldn't budge. No, you keep it. It's good. Also, as good as shipping. It was a very unexpected offer, and Rose couldn't arrive at a decision. Rose her head and looked at the corner. It's good.
It's okay.
Rose's lips became slightly loosened. Oh, did you smile a little? When Carmen pointed that out, Rose's face became stiff. You still got some trouble. Here, this is how you smile. Carmen pushed both ends of Rose's lips up. Rose was touched by Carmen, making her heart beat faster. The Bellbird briskly hopped on Rose's left shoulder and chirped delightfully. Taking the opportunity, Rose and the others were told to enter the hot springs as they were to stay overnight. They said that it was in an off period as there were no other guests, so they could enter without feeling uncomfortable. In addition, the outdoor mixed bath was surrounded by considerably large rocks, and the view was obstructed by steam. Carmen appeared to have brought wine to drink and a sack to go along with it. Red and Chocolate were joyfully swimming. It was the first time Rose had experienced a bath with such pleasant feelings like that. It used to have various effects, such as being effective against the cold. On the outdoor at skyboard, unfamiliar characters were lined up side by side.
But I can read this?
It's Abyssian. It looks like the number of tourists from there has increased recently. Ryan's voice came from behind the steam. Abyssinia was located north of the Shepherd Republic and was its enemy in war over 30 years ago. Rose's homeland might be Abyssinia. He suggested that it didn't ring any bells for Rose. She didn't have much of her memory from before she was taken to the experiment facility. Rose's body was deeply submerged in the bath. The region of her right leg from where she was shot by the villain had already started to heal. That was normal for bodies that had been transformed into hybrids. Things might have gotten dangerous, but you held out nicely this time.
Really? Really?
Her related voice asked him in return. However, Rose knew. Carmen had always been watching over her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to appear that day. Thanks for the day.
I mean, about Phil.
The Belber joyfully jumped into the bag and slid on the wool mark. If Carmine had shown up when he did, the bird would have been killed. And if Carmine hadn't carried it around and still in his way, Rose would have also died in it.
I'm very happy.
And smile.
Because whoever left last best.
As Rose anticipated his words, Carmen shook her body from the other side of the steam. That's right. Mr. Leftface would be pretty cute.
Cute?
He told her something she had never thought about, and her body became hot, and her heart beat fiercely. Crying face is cute as well. Carmen snuffled up about you. Well, she's dead. You sound like a small child.
I'm not a child.
Rose was embarrassed and bluntly refuted him. Who was crying? Who was crying? Red abruptly appeared from the hot bath to try and tease Rose.
I wasn't crying.
Yeah, you were crying.
Chocolate.
Rose poured hot water on Rose and Chocolate, and not to be outdone, the two started by splashing back. They began chasing each other while clambering around. Carmen was in a slightly tipsy mood as he looked up at the full moon suspended in the night sky. The clattering of Rose and the others, which should have been noisy, was strangely comfortable to his ears. It's almost time. It was half a month until Red's birthday. This whole time. If I tell them I'm leaving this country, they'll get angry. Carmen looked at his face. Carmen had absolute trust in his precognition dreams. He had no intention of going against them. It was because of his premonition that they were able to survive up to now. The premonition revealed to him the figure of Carmen traveling to a foreign country to travel together with a single girl. Rose had not looked right on the guide to leave her head.
Where are you?
Her parents had given her life or somewhere in the world, gave her a mysterious feeling.
They don't want to see me?
Rose stared at the water's reflection as she questioned herself. A girl with no ears in her head and a flat nose to her back.
I don't know.
She wondered if a fortune emerged when she was taken away, and nothing of her parents. Now she was content with the days she spent with Carmen and the others, even if she did seek more than that. It was enough. The joyful sounding voices of Red and Chocolate within hot springs induced drowsiness, and gentle tiredness. Rose slowly closed her eyes. Now it's time to read the final issue, the January 2011 issue, the finale. What is that? Carmen muttered dumbfounded. He was suffering from intense shock. The airship, the S-27, which The Asmodeus, on which Carmen and his princess rode on, turned at high speeds while exposed to the soft sunlight. He shot over the deck, and Carmen felt his vision narrow. Something gigantic, comparable in size to the Asmodeus, approached from the sky with a floating presence. Big and fast! Carmen groaned and mounted the van crutch. He had suddenly uploaded his plan with incredible speed and effortlessly fired off high-powered energy bolts. The Asmodeus frantically surged around while attempting to counterattack. However, it was not in a position to fight against its attack. Before they knew it, someone had been snatched away, and nothing they could do to stop it. Rose! Like a boy with a bushy tail called out the girl's name at the top of his voice. The silver girl had been seized by enormous arms, desperately trying to struggle free. However, the talons that dug into the silver hair girl were unyielding.
Everyone, escape.
This girl's voice gradually became weaker as she lost her vitality. Rose! Damn it! They immensely wanted to somehow rescue her, but were unable to even approach the object. It's real they had not been shot down yet. The reason for that being because of the young girl piloting the boat, who was merely 5 years old. Chocolate, you mustn't come here! The captive girl screamed.
Chocolate, you mustn't come here!
The captive girl screamed. The Asmodeus attempted to horizontally slip through the gigantic object, however, the arm that extended from the blind spot drew near. The silver girl tried to hastily deploy defensive magic, however, she instantly cried out and the incantation was stopped. Rose! The boy yelled out. The large object was crushing the silver-haired girl excessively. Sorry. Give me a moment to do something real quick. Carmen grinded his teeth. The main gooch, which had lost its wings along with its ability to fly, was of no use. Higher beam was fired from the object and penetrated the bitch. Time had come to a stop. Chocolate! The boy's screams shook the atmosphere. Continuous light bullets pierced the deck a second time. The boy's figure was nowhere to be found. His screams had not even been audible. Red? Suddenly, the engine caught fire. Although Carmen was able to jump off quickly without any footing, he merely fell to the air. Red. Fell. Chocolate. His conscience felt close to despair. Rose. He wondered, where in the world did he make a mistake? Where? Ugh! The candy man Carmen, lying in the hammock, had fallen on the ground with a miserable snout. Heh, got you! Whoever the bushy tail had taken revenge for working him so hard by unfastening the hammock string. He started running away.
Are you alright?
A hybrid girl, Rose, with silver hair, extended her hand to the calling Carmen. Rose had an unusual appearance in that she didn't have a tail or a long nose, and another covered her body beside her hair. She had pursued due to escaping from the facility about a month ago. She was now being sheltered by Carmen and the others. She would be 14 years old this year, but because she was at the facility at an early age, she did not know her exact birth.
What's the matter?
In Rose's voice, Carmen made a slightly surprised face and blinked his eyes, and then he slowly looked up. Dream. Carmen muttered and pitifully sighed. Despite having fell asleep and currently fallen to the ground, he saw the hat that covered his head, apparently worn out from long use. He seemed to be feeling unusually down for someone who's almost so easygoing.
Because I was involved?
Carmen was deep in thought with a seemingly grave expression.
Did you have a bad dream?
Rose asked, concerned. It was incredible that Carmen could seemingly predict the future, because the fact that Rose had been saved by that power before. No, it's no big deal. Grasping Rose's hand, Carmen got up. Whereupon he relaxed his expression and gave a fearless smile. Rose felt embarrassed to see her by his knee, and cast her eyes down. Carmen's hands were much bigger than she had thought.
Its birthday is tomorrow.
Its birthday is tomorrow. It's almost time now.
Almost time?
There would be 10 tomorrow, and she had heard that the orphanage would be closing down. Let's gather everyone. It seemed the time had come. Alright, just another repeat of this whole thing. As Rose, tomorrow the kind of boy Red would just 10th birthday with Chocolate, who was only 5 years old. Eaten yet? Mischievous Red with a brown and bushy tail brazenly imitated Carmen's rough manner of speech. However, Rose knew that he truly possessed a kind of sense of justice. Big bro, you had to speak more properly. Chocolate's pink fur and her consciousness made her appear quite charming. At times, Rose wanted to tightly hug Chocolate without restraint. However, she had yet to do so. Though they were not blood-related, the boy and girl were like siblings. They is Red's favorite. He learned to speak. For real? Wow! Everyone who had just appeared was the director Penny. Contrary to her calm appearance, Linko seemed to burn with mischievous curiosity. Strangely enough, people seemed to be able to calmly talk to her about anything when she was around.
Everyone's gathered!
And Rose was a former Linko girl whose body had transferred. Okay. They just changed routine to the far exceeded any order at first. However, Rose tested these powers on a personal level and not used them to the limits unless it was absolutely necessary. Now she wore a robe around her body to conceal her skin as well as bandages wrapped around the exposed skin of hands and feet. In front of the board gathered table, Carmen announced them. The orphanage is closing down. In the same reaction as they had been previously informed, no one was surprised. It can't be helped. Parents isolated and murmuring voice burst out in solitude. I had faith that Carmen's premonitions were divine messages from God. What about Master? I'll be leaving the country. Huh? But why? French uncles uttered in hysteric voices. Rusu was taken aback by this unexpected remark. They believed that Carmen would continue his hunter work in the country. Well then, how about I follow you? Me too! Michelle raised her hand scared to embark with Carmen. Bear's face shined. No! With that single word, Carmen bluntly refused him. What? Red would have never considered being rejected and moved his eyes down. You have to be this world's savior. I don't know what you're talking about, Master. It's for your sake. The time will come when you will understand. I don't know what you're talking about right now! Red blew his emotions. However, Carmen did not attempt to explain any further. Master, are you going to be gone? Chocolate had been unable to keep up with the situation and timidly questioned him in a small voice. As after looking between Rose and Penny's faces, it seemed she finally understood the truth of the matter. Is it really? As soon as Chocolate managed to scrape out those words, her face contorted and she began to cry. Not knowing how to comfort Chocolate, Rose was unable to raise her voice.
Well then, what should I do?
Do whatever you want with yourself. You've been trained with the ability to do so. In the end, Carmen coldly pushed him away. And then Mila looked at Carmen with sorrow. Those who had only been there for a month but could still be considered an outsider, unable to get a word in between the two. Red probably understood that no one would stand by him. Master, stupid and I hate you! Hope your tail comes off! Rose bowed the sharp parting and rushed out of his room. It's Master's lover. He just wants to run away with his lover. He ran around the same way the chief had put. Only the awkward atmosphere was left behind. Rose and Carmen caught each other's eyes.
Is it a lover?
It's not it. Don smiled purely and stroked his shoulder.
So what are you going to do?
Carmen waited for Rose. So what are you going to do? Carmen waited for Rose's response.
I know too.
It had not been long since she fled from the experiment facility and became aware of the outside world. It wasn't common she could live on her own in the first place. The world would almost certainly never accept Rose. Anxiety spread to Rose's chest.
What am I going to do?
Rose climbed to the top of the roof from the window.
Listen, Eric.
Oh god, I did not expect that to happen. I got down and the stars were shining in the jet black sky. Rose spoke to the boy who was lying down with his back turned to her.
Red, I brought you some food.
I don't want any! With a pouting tone of voice, Red kept his back turned. Because Hardy or Rev had not returned for dinner, Rose brought him a meal. skillful balance, Rose advanced across the slanted roof and sat down next to her. For some time, they took in the atmosphere without saying a word. Then Red stopped powerfully groaned. Red's embarrassment seemed to mellow him out. Okay. Let's make you go on the plane and present to him.
You like hamburger steak, don't you? It's really just been sandwiched between bread.
She hadn't believed that he would be able to win against his appetite. It was in a state of reluctance when he received it. However, as soon as I could see them vigorously, Rose held her chest at the side of it. His pulse almost subsided in anger. Soon chirped. I was found by Master about a year ago.
Is that so?
It's not surprising either. It would be an orphanage after all. Perhaps Chocolate had similar circumstances?
What were you doing up until then?
I don't remember. He seen a flash somewhere near the small island when he was found, but he had no memory of avoiding. I was collapsed with that robo.
Robo?
It looks like its name is the Hawk. I don't really get it.
That's...
She had seen it and not as many as saying it. The robo appeared to be important to her, however it seemed not be completely ready for operation. And I guess I thought I was lucky, because Master's crazy strong. Even now, if I gave it my all, I still couldn't possibly hope to compete with him. I thought someone like that could train me. Red light shined as he conveyed in gestures Carmen's greatness to Rose. Rose kept silent as she thoughtfully listened. She could understand how much Red idolized Carmine. It was for that reason why Red felt so betrayed. I'm just getting in Master's way.
Don't think such things, Red. It's Carmen deemed you to be able to stand on your own, Red.
Is that true? Red's eyes seemed to cling to her as listened for her response.
Otherwise, I don't think that Carmen would just abandon you.
But if he had become stronger, he was still just a 10-year-old boy. Then he did not yet have the experience to overcome the feeling of loneliness and helplessness.
If you keep acting like that, Red, Chocolate will be even more uneasy.
Chocolate?
Now you will protect Chocolate. Carmen entrusted Chocolate to you, Red.
Did he really?
That's right.
With Rose's powerful affirmation, Red seemed to know what he had said in mind. I get it. That sort of thing. So of course was turned to Red's eyes.
So, sort of full of spirit.
I understand. Just that Red got back on his feet and tightly grasped his fist with energy. Thanks, Rose. Breaking through his doubts and achieving great development, Red vigorously jumped to the ground. Rose lay down on the roof. She had significantly envy towards the straight-minded Red. Countless stars were shining in the sky.
Beautiful.
There seemed to be something in the stars called a constellation. However, Rose didn't know what that was. Just a star passed by.
I'm right. It's a shooting star.
Chocolate has said that if you wish someone else to pass by, the wish would come true. Rose's arms had finished. She may never see one shot shoot by again. However, she immediately became astonished.
I wish.
She wondered what in the world she would wish for. She would like to see more of the world. It was such a vague desire that she harbored, but she didn't know what else to think of. What in the world could she do for herself? Who in the world did she need?
What am I?
How could Rose live in a world that rejected her? Rose involuntarily breathed out a large sigh. You seem troubled.
Director!
And it was unexpectedly peeking her face out from the window. Oh, Red, you really did seem like it's no big sister.
You heard that?
Her face was red to a degree that seemed as if it could combust into flames at any second. Although she behaved like Red's elder sister, Rose was not so different from him mentally. Rather, Red had accumulated more world experience than her. However, she had been patient because she knew that expressing her true feelings there would only have made Red more anxious.
If only I had more confidence.
Confidence, huh? The director briefly said. However, she wondered where she could possess the components of confidence. In addition to being naive of the world, she had such a peculiar appearance.
Director, you're so remarkable. After all, you run this orphanage and helped out all these children, haven't you?
There was nothing that could compare to a person like that. I'm not remarkable at all. I've always regretted it.
There's something you regret?
Yes, I should have just run away instead of taking over the orphanage. Those dad her ears when she heard the incredibly impulsive remark. According to the story, Penny had grown up in an orphanage. The then current director had fallen ill, and she was the oldest one there at the time. They said Penny was to succeed. At the time, Penny had a companion and she was in an intimate relationship with him. He claimed to have been a merchant from a neighboring country. However, he pursued plunged into war with that neighboring country. It was a long time ago, but they say that after war I lived with that man. In the end, Penny chose orphanage. I was so confident in my own feelings. I didn't realize that until after he was gone. How much did I need that man? And I looked at the stars over this eyes.
That man.
He died in the war.
Is that so?
The glowing atmosphere became solemn. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming my presence though. Many of children have nested from this place, which I'm very proud of. But even so, if I could return that time, I would almost certainly I would follow him. And it held no hesitation or statement. It's important. It's important. Wondering about what you need, rather than whether you are needed or not. Don't play it safe. I stepped from the window, and as the story concluded.
Why did you tell me that story?
Well, why do you think? I smiled playfully and descended downstairs.
What am I?
Rose muttered, whereupon Karma's face came to her mind.
Huh?
Rose coming back to her senses, hastily shook her head. She had terribly surprised her.
Wait, Carmine, what about me?
Yeah! Suddenly hearing a voice. Hearing a voice, Rose heart turned over and she jumped in surprise. However, she was on a slanted roof.
Yeah!
She would soon fall off.
What are you?
Embraced by Carmen, Rose was just barely saved. However, this time Carmen's intense face was up close, causing her heart to ramp for different reasons.
Yeah!
Rose's voice three shrill shrieks. She immediately turned her back to hide her right in the face for that thought. The inside of her head was purely blank. Hey, you okay? Very puzzled. Rose repeatedly took deep breaths and slightly calmed herself. Screamed like a girl. I'm surprised.
I am a girl.
Rose replied in a disheartened manner. She didn't feel any ill will in it, but Common Free found it went too far. It pierced through. Even Rose herself couldn't understand why her feelings were so stirred up like that. Common showed a little surprise on his face and fixed his gaze on Rose. I see. She did not know what was going on, but since she was embarrassed by his stare, she could not keep his eyes to turn upon him. However, Rose noticed that Carmen appeared different than usual.
What's wrong? Why do you look so sad?
Carmen's deep crimson eyes appeared to be visibly looking down for some reason. Oh, well. Rose sat down next to Rose. The sounds of insects swayed in the veil of night, currently breathing the same air as Carmen. The flow of time became loose. My very existence seemed to attract dangerous eyes. Rose tipped her head. She wondered if perhaps his vague manner of speaking was related to his premonitions. Now, premonitions can be avoided depending on potential actions, so it's pretty almighty, isn't it? It's finally clear what an instant I saw in that dream will come. Rose's expression stayed unsaid. Your incantations, they're basically spreading barriers, right?
Yeah,
Is it also possible for it to work on the mind?
I can, but
Is that so? Carmen was deep in thought, unable to read the flow of the conversation. She truly did not understand what he wanted to say. Do you think it's cruel to take away memories?
To erase memories?
Rose questioned surprised. Rose personally wanted nothing more than to erase her horrible memories. Even so, there were still things she did not wish to forget. Damn, you're just like me.
Carmine.
Although she did not properly understand Carmen's self-loathing, for some reason Rose felt a certain gentleness in her. At the same time, her heart became filled with something like affection. Seeing Carmen in low spirits, she wanted to cheer him up.
You last life's best.
With a blast of energy, Rose raised her eyes to Carmen as she spoke. Ah, that's right. Carmen was going to struck the emptiness. His eyes had been visiting Monica, and now he finally smiled with his usual vigorous face. Though they were in the dark, his smile couldn't help be radiant. For the first time, Rose concluded that she wanted to be together with Carmen. She wanted to voice her desire for him to take her along. However, no matter what she could not get the words out.
I want to be with them, but
Would she be a nuisance? The thought scared her. Not only was she persecuting herself, but the person she wanted to be with was likely to have the same problems as her. And above all else, Rose was terrified of rejection. Can reject her here, then Rose was suddenly frightened by it all. She ended up quietly staying awake the whole night. The next day, she's doing all right so far. So far. From the front of the deck, Rose and Carmen were intently watching a particular airship. For their eyes, the Smoothies continued flying straight without wavering.
chocolate is amazing.
That's because it was me who trained her. Carmen heavily replied to Rose's thought. We fell in the midst of Carmen's final test for red and chocolate.
But this isn't very interesting.
Rose sensed something ominous in Carmen, who was quietly muttering to herself.
What are you thinking?
Just about anyone could fly. I was wondering, how would she handle in the case of a little trouble? So I thought,
You're right, but
what if I fired a rocket?
wait!
Before he was, Carmen drew out a rocket launcher, placed it on his shoulder, determining his aim. As soon as Carmen had decided its name, the Asmo was flying ahead, began taking evasive maneuvers as a panic. They were quick to notice before I shot.
Hey, idiot! The hell do you think you're doing?
You idiot! The hell do you think you're doing? Red's angry shouting came flying from the Asmodee's feet clouds. Who's here? Spoken like a true brat! Without showing any hesitation, Carmen readily pressed the switch to fire, placing a compact warhead straight into the air. Ah! He seriously shot it!
What are you doing?
As expected, Rose was surprised and tried to stop Carmen, but she was too late. The Asmodee sharply turned, nearly evading the rocket by a hair's breadth. Oh, well then.
What are you gonna do if you hit them?
Rose forcibly grabbed the launcher from Carmen, but he attempted to fire it. It's fine, it's fine. They probably avoided it, didn't they? Hazard fluctuation. The small device in his hand and pressed the sword button. Then it sounded like Chocolate's shouting to be audible from the launcher. Ah! Red, the control stick stops responding! The blind eyes and looked clearly at the face and then Carmen. I'll work on it last night.
They're going to crash into the island! What are you going to do about this?
When I pointed at this place and she pressed Carmen for an answer. Who knows? I guess they'll manage somehow. I'm so glad as if it were someone else's problem. Then Red appeared on the deck of its moves. He lifted the main wing in its current condition and began to move the flap manually. He gradually shifted its course away from the direct hit to the island. Oh, that's so. That's an asset. In that case, what if the wave motion is like this? Once Carmen pressed the switch on the device at the hand, whereupon the rotation of the plane's right pillar came to a stop. It turned from flawless and was thrown off balance into a dust fall. This time, however, the Asmodeus wasn't thrown into a state of confusion as it dealt with the lowering altitude by entering into gliding mode. Oh, will you clear this too? Ah, Master, you jerk, cut it out! Concerning voice was directly heard from afar. Rome jumped up and down on top of the main wing while he stuck his middle finger out at Carmine. No, this is just me expressing my love! Carmine looked to be having fun. But it's much more enjoyable to clear it this way, rather than be something so simple, isn't it?
Knock it off! You're overdoing it! She came to the
conclusion that their final test had most likely lost sight of its purpose. Don't worry, that was it. They'd already begun returning to the orphanage located in the small sky. It should they had a little fight still remaining. I guess it can't be helped. Shoulder this one. Chuckle at fast. Here with Carmen's declaration, the answer to recover from its come up. Flew with a sense of behind. Ground's expression intact. Rose also felt traces in its senses. The last time she changed, it's come. The last time she changed clearly. On the main glitch, he kept nearby on standby. You're! Shocked voice of Red reverberated through the loudspeaker. Two favorite rowboats were standing in front of the destination flying boat. Riding on the back of the rowboats were two people who were hivers at the facility just like Rose. He was certain the names of the glamorous woman and the expressionless man were Rogue and Vermilion. Did you come to get beaten again? It was exceptionally unabashed voice was meant to provoke them. However, both Rogue and Vermilion had an atmosphere about them that was completely different from the previous times. It appeared they were able to express their bloodless, since they hadn't been provoked, and gave off a sort of preparedness.
There's no point in our existence if we cannot be of use to that man.
Immediately after Rogue said that, the mouth of Vermilion's rowboat glowed and released high-energy bullets. The Asmodeus was grazed, only just barely evading the bullets as they pierced the ground. Rose leaned her body out of the deck's handrail and peered at the ground.
The orphanage!
The orphanage was just blown away without a trace. It was gouged out like rain.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it either.
Don't worry, none of the children were over there, so they weren't killed. Red said in a hushed voice. Rogue showed no hesitation there. Nevertheless, Rose was done with the comprehend what Rogue was saying.
You're both just being used as tools. Why can't you say that? We tools have pride in being used as tools. Unlike you, who are all too quick to flee. I don't want to die yet. I wish to see more of the various things in this world. There's a value in such a world. We're in this effective world. The poor are for skin, the weak are preyed upon by the strong. We're in a world like this. You're only looking at it from one perspective. What's the point? See, the world won't change a thing with the world except you. That's...
Involuntarily, Rose was now lost for
But that's not all there is to it.
That's right, the world had many different faces to it. Although Rose often displayed her stoic side, she also showed a surprisingly optimistic aspect. Otherwise, she would have died in the gutter long ago.
We will change the world. We possess the power to do so.
Rose spoke determinedly.
Bro, talking about it any further is useless.
Rogue, Vermilion, who had kept plans with him, called out to Rogue.
Right. From the beginning, it was pointless to think they could understand us.
As Rogue replied, the two rows began to glow. Then they began transferring in a frenzy, as if they were organically intertwined like a living being.
What is this?
The sight chilled the muscles along Rose's spine. Rose's looking surge bit at her skin.
That's...
Carmen was speechless. It was lighting the sky, the rovers in which Vogue and Vermilion operated transferred into something gigantic. It seemed to rival the Asmodeus in size, its presence overwhelming the surroundings.
Grandavir.
Rose's audible voice was captured from the middle of it. 6 pairs of large, huge talons with the full of thorns grotesquely squirmed around. The shiny metallic body grew, with the veins looking dark purple on its surface. The chill running down Rose's back informed her of the enormous rope was vicious. She realized that the situation had completely changed. Anchor's sounds like rushed down these waves. Those irons, despite its large body, moved with incredible speed. It's here! Oz was rolled with those words as he mounted the main gauch and jumped below this boat.
Hey!
Whistling hang on the main wheel of the Asmodeus, Carmen slashed the spring with his talons and the main gauch's sword. Napalm sparks scattered, staining the evening shine.
This is crazy!
On top of his Asmodeus, which could not make tight turns easily, he found it insane to be fighting a opponent so gigantic. Carmen's main gauch raged on with grand of his talons.
Carmine!
Sorry, I was about to cough and Rose hastily casted her protection patch and put her incantations into action. Electra surrounded his mace, negating all physical attacks for a brief period of time. However, it was a trap. Asmodeus closed his eyes. The Asmodeus suddenly turned around, and Electra tore through the deck of the Asmodeus that Rose was on. Rose had been so concentrated on magic that she was unable to avoid it. Rose was dragged off the hammerwheel into Grango's house.
We've seen.
Please turn.
The voices of Brogan and Vermilion overlapped and echoed with each other. Rose! Damn it! Rose!
Don't follow.
Talons that pinned Rose's body were unyielding. One of her ribcage was being pressed down hard, forcing her breathing to come to a stop. Pressure from the blood gathered in her upper body made her head feel a splitting pain.
Everyone, escape.
His body was supposed to rescue Rose, but was interested by the talons of the Grand Grouper each time they attempted to do so. Even so, Chocolate strenuously piloted the Asmodeus. However, from the Asmodeus' blind spot, the Grand Grouper's arms swung down.
Chocolate, you mustn't!
Rose quickly attempted to chant defensive magic, but was instantly stopped. The sound of cracking the talons put burden to her ribs.
Don't do anything.
Unnecessary. Necessary.
The intentions of Rogue and Brilliant tried to respond to her. Rose, on the deck of the Asmodeus, Rose didn't do a thing, except merely watch Rose's suffering. Rose protected the Asmodeus with defensive magic. Chocolate continued to desperately fight the Asmodeus. Carmen continued to form feats of repelling talons and slicing the light bolts. This one person couldn't do a thing. The inside of his tunnel felt dull and began to ache. Blood streamed from his chewed lips. His heart was in absolute agonizing pain, and his conscience became distant with regret. Then, a mysterious voice left from the back of Red Sir. His blood began to clamor tremendously. I should have predicted this. Tom was torn with intense horror. He recalled the outcome as prophetic. He could do this! When Carmen repelled the talons with the sword, he shouted to encourage himself. However, he had no choice but to admit the situation was gradually getting worse and worse. The Grand Guerrero's severe strikes were persistent. His talons gleamed, its long tail swung down, and its high-energy bullets fired from its mouth. It was stunned that his body still continued to fly. Chocolate's senses actually filing was probably natural to her, but even that had limits. Rose, hold on! Rose lost blood caused her face to appear drained. Rose appeared many times in Carmen's premonitions, but they traveled together in form and layer. That's why she couldn't die in a place like this. However, the future could be altered, and the past can't be rewound. The state of the fluctuating flow of time changed with the most minor of things. The dream that Carmen saw was just a single possibility. His impatience grew strong. Or did I make a mistake? Where will the flow change? Oh, that's not it. That's not right. The flow hadn't changed. Carmen could alter the current flow from now. Otherwise, the path to the future won't be open. However, no solution was found. Damn. Carmen continued to swing his sword in desperate thought, thinking about how to change the flow of time. There was no time left for such thoughts. And Gringo's mouth gasping like, that's... Cold sweat steamed out his whole body. The light would soon pierce through the bridge. The hopeless scene played out in the back of his eyes changed the flow. Out the strength of his whole body. Ah! With a loud roar, Carmen operated the main gun and threw himself in the mouth of the Grand Gouffre. Rose frightened her eyes. Her previously fading consciousness became clear. Carmen spun and the talon came closing in, twisting its whole body as he passed over. The malicious talon ripped off his robe, struck his hat, and grazed the tip of his nose. Carmen's nose was swept away. However, there was no stream of blood, nor did he show any signs of pain. And above all else, he had no ears or tail.
What?
When the talon tore apart the robe and Carmen's figure was exposed, Rose had been unable to stop the goosebumps on her body.
The same as me?
There were no ears, no tail, and no fur. There wasn't even a long nose. It was undoubtedly the same figure as Rose. Energy enough to shake the atmosphere filled the Grand Gouffre. And just as the high energy bullets were released from the mouth of the Grand Gouffre simultaneously, Carmen logic kicked to close it shut. This assassination nearly triggered the largest one in your Grand Gouffre's head.
Carmine!
Rose's high-pitched scream shook the sky. Ah! Master! Her legs let tremble at the sight before his eyes. His teeth clattered. Following the glaring flashlight, scorching heat rose up. It's a lie. Rose's vision was stained scarlet. Something hidden within the depths of his head began to overflow. Time came to a stop as everything slowed down. Conversely, Red's heartbeat and thinking rate accelerated beyond its limits. Lose control. How the world became altered. At the time Rose screamed, something unexpectedly jumped out from the familiars. Even in the face of a situation where she was likely to lose her sanity due to Carmen's suicide attack, he not only boasted a presence that could not be ignored.
What is this?
What is... Her skin Rose felt the sign that the air had become twisted. There was a large hole in the deck of his nose. It was not caused by an outside attack. Instead, showed traces of being torn from the inside.
What?
Her head couldn't keep track of all the rapid developments. It had jumped out into his nose and crossed eyes as Rose.
Is that Red?
It was been Red that jumped out into his nose. The issue, however, was that Red was in the same hybrid form as Rose. Furthermore, Red also wore mysterious parts around his whole body that emanated tremendous energy as he approached the Grand Gouffre.
Is that the dog?
Red glided at a tremendous speed.
Carmine!
At the end of where Red was heading towards, the worn-out figure of Carmen fell. When the explosion, he had withdrawn at the last second. As Red grabbed Carmen in his arms while fighting, the explosion was caught up and carried it to him. Meanwhile, the Grand Gouffre had lost most of its head and its movements became dull.
No way. He's a hybrid?
The AZI theories.
May and Rose's dismayed voices echoed in their faraway heads. By the way, this guy is also one of the number. Carmen grasped his words while on top of the Yasmini said. Once again, Red jumped in the sky with a vacant expression. Each time Red and the Grand Gouffre crossed each other, one by one, the talons of the Grand Gouffre broke off.
Impossible! The Grand Gouffre is being overwhelmed!
A cry sounded like it came from Rude was heard in the airspace. Grand Gouffre was momentarily distracted by Red. Carmen, who was on the main gun, severed the nails that were grasping Rose. He caught Rose, who had finally become free. Simultaneously, the Asmodee slipped in and became a landing platform for the two people. You alright? Involuntarily, Rose became stuck in her words, and she wanted to cry. She was grateful, of course, but she wanted to giant crying, about to crash to save her. But she won't die. I guess you won't die. The comments fucking saying those words in a like when Rose's heart took and her vision again. But she had almost lost it. It was the most important thing to her, Rose had realized. There's millions lying on a small island nearby. No use of all her energy. 5-year-old girl that managed to do all that time. It was only natural.
No!
The dollar that had become Rose's pet a few days ago flew down her shoulder. She was worried that it might have been caught in the explosion at the orphanage, but it seemed to be fine. The Val Team Red and the Grand Gouverneur continued to rage on in the sky.
Yeah.
The screams of broken villain and demonic tower could be heard in the distance. The governor's limbs were ripped off, its talons lost, and its long tail severed. Its whole body was full, so it couldn't even stay up until it finally struck the island. Even so, Red didn't stop his attack, and strongly persisted instead.
Isn't that strange?
This is bad. He's losing control. Red's hollow expression was warped in what appeared to be pain. However, Carmen's needs gave out in exhaustion. Because of the explosion, his body was badly injured. With its injuries, it was incredible that he was even able to maintain consciousness.
Leave this to me!
Rose reined in Carmen and gradually approached Red. Soon she spread a barrier around Red and his surroundings. Red, who was losing control himself, seemed to be unaware of the situation, which made it simpler to entrap him. The barrier's net's narrow, taking away his free movement. Exactly like that time ago, except for the amount of pressure being exerted. In the end, Red was finally able to move. Then, however, the parts that covered Red's whole body vanished. Then they proceeded to reconstruct into an ordinary robot. Huh? Because of that, the barrier's net became loose and Red lunged directly at Rose. Suddenly, a large blade swung at her head. The blade's sheath was like that of a trap. Instantly, Rose's whole body aggressive, caught as if it were going. On the verge of being beheaded, Rose drove her fist into the side of the blade. An especially dry sound with the blade snapping in two. As it blew the kingdom from the tip of the broken blade cut straight into Red's nose. That's Rose! As he blinked his eyes, Red sanity returned to him. What is this? He attempted to suppress his raging body. As expected, he still can't control it yet. Carmen arrived at the scene, desperately staggering.
Can't control it?
If he goes under a rampage like just now, he'll end up destroying himself.
That's...
Rose hurriedly held down Red's body with magic. His entire body was suffering from convulsions. I don't know what caught triggered like this. It would be best to contain all the factors that cause this trance. There, Rose recalled what Carmen had said the night before.
Do you mean erasing his memories?
Carmen with a heavy expression. Due to his premonition, he had known what to do. Memories? You don't mean me, do you? Rose and Carmen had no answer to Red's question. Wait a minute! With blood breathing, Red attempted to catch up to Carmen, but his foot movements came to an immediate stop. It would be best to erase the memory of this past one involving hybrids.
In other words, when I encountered him,
Rose was saddened at the prospect of assimilating the memories of Red meeting her from within him. However, she could find no other siblings. Please, stop. Listen carefully. The next time you rampage, like when you were unable to control yourself just now, the first victim is going to be Chocolate. He thought it was a manipulative way to talk, but it was likely true. He lost control again. He would almost certainly spearhead someone familiar to him. But I don't want to forget, because Rose's face became stained with tears.
it'll be alright. When I saw your memory, it won't be permanent. If we see each other again, you'll be able to remember immediately.
Seal was nearing completion. Really? Then promise me, you have to come see me, Rose.
Yes, I understand. I promise. By my tail.
You don't have a tail. Red laughed with tears in his eyes. The master can go wherever he wants. I thought you hated me, but someday I'll be able to compete with you. So, I'm looking forward to it. Carmen folded his arms and looked at Red from above. Red's face showed anguish as he undoubtedly stared back at Carmen. I have to be this world's savior, don't I? There's no way I'll lose to you, Master. While Red was dripping cold sweat, he gave a self-assured smile. That's a fine face. Unless you lose that smile, you're not going to be losing to anybody. Those were the final words that exchanged from Red. Sale completed, and Red was sleeping gently. As for any traces of memory discrepancy, Chocolate would also need the seal applied to her in order to lose all worry of Red losing control. I'm giving the Asmodeus to you. It'll be your birthday present. But when he wakes up, it's sure to be a surprise. His master will have left behind the Asmodeus and a big scar will be on his nose. If it's red, he'll be fine. No matter what, he's my apprentice. Carmen powerfully declared as he gazed up at him from the distance. He was happy with where he was profiling him from. Perhaps there was a chance that Red's future may come to light. There's those two. Roboto and Vermilion were faintly breathing, falling on the ground in their cannon uniforms. Rose looked down at the two.
Pretending failure for the third time. He won't be generous.
Rose said while looking at the remains of the Grand Vizier. If it were useful, he would have used it. If he couldn't stand, he would dispose of it. As far as that man was concerned, there was nothing more.
Just kill me, damn it! There's nothing more to me living like this.
In those provocative words, she had truly given up.
I would like to see more of the world. Even just watching sunsets like this. I think that's a good reason for him to live for.
Everything was dyed in red. The sky, the clouds, and a small amount of the land melted together. Malcolm Vermilion were captivated by the overwhelming sunset as it flooded the world.
You two have just acquired freedom for the first time. You don't have to live for the sake of him, but for yourselves.
Now the two of them had no choice but to decide things for themselves. They had no choice but to find the answers for themselves. So, what are you going to do? Rose recalled Pane's words. And then she remembered the words she told Velodian Bernard, which she needed for herself. Rose lifted her face and looked straight at Carmine. She could no longer look down.
I want to stay with you. Before your suicide act, I thought my heart would break in half. I don't want to feel like that anymore.
She was not lying. Those were lying. Those were honest feelings. She could walk on her own feet. She would choose the way to go with her own eyes.
So I will follow you.
Upon escaping from the facility, Rose was newly reborn. This time, she would live for herself. Rose ascertained that she could endure the trembling of her lips. Then Carmine's lips broadly curved into a twisted grin. If that's the case, put this on.
Huh.
Presented with an artificial nose and ears, Rose dyed her eyes. Hopper would have a ridiculous look. She naturally dropped her mouth. She could not believe she had never noticed Carmen's disguise for such a long time.
That's a fine face.
While saying that, Carmine gave Rose his best smile as he took her hand and pointed directly north. Well then, shall we first head to Abyssina?
Abyssina?
Nor Carmine pointed out, floating and separate from the ship Republic was spread out. To look for your true parents.
My parents?
I'll probably ask you, my partner.
Yeah.
Perhaps because of the clouds being illuminated by the sunset's afterglow. For the first time in her life, Rose's face displayed the very best smile she had ever had. And that's the ending of Red Dated Children. See you in the next video.